All right, it is Monday, April 18th, and today's episode of Let There Be Talk is brought to you by my podcast network, cactusradionetwork.com. You can get all of my podcasts there absolutely free, or you can go to my YouTube channel, Dean Del Rey, and subscribe and get all the podcasts there. cactusradionetwork.com. Yes, indeed, it is another drummer today. I can't even guess how many drummers I've had on in the 10 and a half, almost 11 years here. I think it is 11 years now of podcasting. It's one of my favorite things to do is showcase the unsung heroes back there, you know? I mean, we have those rock stars, those big personality drummers, but then you have the people that are just the killers. And the nerds nerd out on it. And my guest today, talk about nerding out. One of the great session drummers of the last 25 years, easily, maybe longer, 30, if I did the math before the intro, but I didn't. From the Bay Area, an old friend of mine, Michael Urbano. Now, some of you are going like, haven't heard of him. Maybe I'll check out a different episode. No. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this guy is a legend, and he has played on legendary records. And not only that, he has been in some incredible bands. He started out in Sacramento, Bourgeois Tagg, getting a record deal. Unbelievable. Todd Rundgren produces their second record. They fizzle apart. He joins Todd Rundgren's band. From there, he's playing with Cracker, joins John Hiatt, gets out on the road, just killing it, making some big money. Then he pops into a little 90s group called Smash Mouth that has some of the biggest radio hits ever. Unbelievable. This guy has played on Third Eye Blind's records, Sheryl Crow, Paul Westerberg, Black Lab, Death Ray, Red House Painters, Camper Van Beethoven. It goes on and on and on. I mean, this guy is on a lot of hit records. And now he is out with his hero, playing drums on the road with the legendary Fleetwood Mac master himself, Lindsey Buckingham. They're out touring right now. They're going all around the States. Catch them. Look it up. This guy's episode is fire. And you can tell we get fired up when we're talking about Bay Area rock, man. We are just punching each other with, no. What about this? Yeah, but what about that? It's a wild ride, and it was so great to catch up with this guy. I had not seen him in years. Just a fantastic guest. Before we get into it, I want to tell you there are new tour dates that were just announced. They're on my website, deandelrey.com. A lot of great stuff. I'm going to be shooting something for Netflix on May 4th at the Palladium. 2 shows, 7 and 9:45, I believe, with Bill Burr, the great Bill Burr and Friends show. May 4th, Palladium. May 5th, LA Forum with Bill Burr. May 12th, Sacramento Memorial Auditorium. May 14th, Oakland Arena. June 23rd, Moda Center, Portland. June 24th, White River Amphitheater, Auburn. June 25th, Rogers Arena, Vancouver. June 26th, Princess Island Park, Calgary. Those are the tour dates up right now. There's also a date of me headlining in July in Fort Collins at the Comedy Fort. DeanDelRey.com, all your tickets. Also merchandise on there. We have the Gertie hoodie and sweatshirt. The now collector item, Dark Fonzie. They're almost gone. That'll be it for those shirts. We have the Grail shirt, which is absolutely one of my favorites, and the Dean Del Rey Perry Shaw Classic. Those are out there. And also want to say thank you to the Patreoners. Did a little Zoom Fest yesterday for Easter. That was super fun. And I want to give a shout out to all the Patreoners. I just cannot thank you enough. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. Zoom Fest. There's a bonus episode up there, a newer one. And thank you so much. I mean it. Hope to see you guys out on the road. I'm just fired up that I'm finally getting some work. It's been a rough on and off year or so, but I just keep going. I just get up each day and stay positive, write jokes, try to get funny, and do the podcast. Thank you, Michael Urbano, for doing the show. Can't thank you enough. And also my good friend Greg Hips. Thank you so much for, hooking this up. Greg Hips from the Mother Hips has a new solo record coming out, and Michael played on that. So I do want to tell you something, though, before we get into the episode. This episode is brought to you by buckmason.com, okay? There's a new king of the hoodies in town. That's what I'm calling it right now. Buck Mason has my favorite hoodie right now. I've been wearing it nonstop. I can't even tell you how much I love it. I love slim fitting stuff. I love high quality clothing. Buck Mason is all of that. They got shirts, sweaters, jeans, leather jackets, all kinds of stuff. I love the t-shirt and I love the hoodie. GQ Magazine loves it so much. They call it the greatest t-shirt in the game. I'm going to wear the t-shirt, I think, on my special because it's just perfect. I'm always looking for the perfect fitting t-shirt, the perfect hoodie, Here it is, buckmason.com/Delray. You're going to get a free t-shirt with your first order. buckmason.com/Delray. Get on that right away. Use that link. It'll help you. It'll help me. And you're going to look good. Great, great stuff. Buck Mason. Here we go. Right now, let's get into it with Mr. Michael Urbano. Catch him out on the road with Lindsey Buckingham. The candles are lit. See ya. Little, like glasses. They're man jewelry.
Glasses are man jewelry at this point, yeah.
Yeah, they are. It's kind of like, you don't want to have a bunch of Robert Plant, turquoise and necklaces and all that. It just weighs you down.
Yeah.
But like a good watch and a pair of glasses. And you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going there.
Yeah.
It's beginning to happen. And the internet knows that too. And then it's I put it out there and it's bringing it back.
Yeah, they just let you know in the morning when you wake up, there's like 6 things you looked at the night before. Hey, buy me.
6 things you thought about.
Yeah, right. Totally.
That's the thing that's freaking me out. It's like, I'm not even saying shit now. I'm just thinking it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's the thing. I'm like, how's that happening?
Yeah, that's because it used to be you say something, your computer, of course, is listening to you, and then it comes up. But now you're in another room just thinking about it, and it comes up.
Okay, so do we even want to know how that's happening?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
To know.
Yeah. How are you? Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Michael Urbano. I'm your old friend from the San Francisco days.
Yeah, years ago.
Drummer.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 62. I just turned 62 March 19th.
God damn, you look great.
Thanks, man.
You're the first guy who came over kind of dressed up.
Well,
are you going somewhere?
Well, this is kind of how I do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to go to band practice later today.
Yeah. I believe in that too. Always look great. Like you see people in airports looking like garbage.
You don't want to do that.
No, you don't.
You're on your way somewhere.
Yeah. And people see you and they're like, hey.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's my dad taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was a sharp dresser and he kind of, anyway.
What'd your dad do?
My dad was a sort of a family man, blue collar guy.
Oh, wow. Sacramento?
Sacramento, exactly. Yeah. Worked at Caltrans.
Wow. Yeah. That's a good job.
Did it for many years. Was a salesman. Got into computers in the really early days when like an entire floor of a building could probably do what a Casio about in the 80s could do,
Yeah.
And he did that for a while. My dad actually played minor league baseball too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, for the Sacramento Solons, and he traveled around. He was in this Mexican-American league. My father was Mexican, and there was a lot of, racism, and there was boundaries that couldn't be crossed in those days, and so he had a hard time breaking into the majors. But he had a 700 batting average when he was playing in minor league ball. Gilbert Urbano, look him up. He was,
Whoa.
Yeah.
And what position?
Short and third.
Yeah.
He's
It's
super
funny.
fast.
Funny
He's
racism
fast.
in baseball when everybody, Fernando Venezuela, like these guys that are the best players ever.
Yeah.
Right. That were from Cuba and Mexico and even Japan.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
man. And in the 70s, my brother and I were obsessed with the Oakland A's.
Oh yeah,
Fanatics, man. It was like those were some good cartoon
Raleigh Fingers,
dude. Raleigh Fingers, Vida Blue. Vida Blue's later, but Campanera, Sal Bando, Reggie Jackson, Rick Monday.
Yeah.
It was hot, man. It was, and they were all, dope smoking hippies, and long hair and mustaches and afros, and it was just like fucking rock and roll baseball.
It's so great. And then you even get into the Billy Ball era, which is cool. And
absolutely, man. Moneyball, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The A's history is amazing because it's so good, but so underrated.
Totally underrated. And, Oakland's always that town that's got the, it needs to work a little extra harder, but emerges every so often with some kind of cultural breakthrough, whether it's like a winning baseball team, winning basketball team, and then of course all the great bands, have come from from the Bay, right?
Yeah. The Bay is unreal. Anytime I have somebody on from the Bay, we just laugh because you can talk about New York, you could talk about LA, you could talk about Detroit, you could talk about England, but the amount of music that has come out of the Bay from the 60s all the way to now is insane, actually. It's and it's all different flavors, and it's it's from Journey to The Dead to Metallica to Green Day, and Rancid, on and
Counting
on and
Crows.
On. Yeah, just all of that.
And
Huey
of course,
Lewis,
but then Sly Stone, Santana, Moby Grape.
It's hundreds.
I mean, we can go on and on. So many amazing. Tower of Power, Tower of Power, Confunction, all the great rappers, Of course, Too Short, like this total
Paris.
like pioneer. Paris, man, Paris, like
unreal,
underrated and visionary dude,
Yeah, Greg, Digital Underground.
Also, what about the Quantum Crew? DJ Shadow, Latyrix, Latif, the True Speaker. What's the guy's name? Lyrics Born.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there in that town and in that region. And when I grew up in Sacramento, it was weird. We had our little scene there. There's a few bands that I was in a band in the '80s, Bourgeois Tagg, and we signed a record deal.
Yeah, that's a killer.
That was cool, man. And then this Cake. What's it? Deftones. There's a few Sacramento bands. Tesla was another one. But it's an island there, It's like when you're in a place that doesn't. It's basically when you start getting in these regions where you're connected to a big city via
you got to go
BART.
There.
You have BART.
Yeah.
So like if you live in Fremont, which is like almost an hour away from San Francisco, but you still kind of like tell people. When you're out in Ohio, where do you live? I live in San Francisco. Because you just get on fucking BART and you're just like you're in the city, and that culture is all connected,
Yeah.
Sacramento, it's like, where do you live? I'm surrounded by tomato fields,
Yeah.
And so
we can go to Yosemite.
Yeah, we can go to Yosemite. Maybe we go to like
Tahoe.
Yeah, Vacaville.
Yeah,
that's going to be crazy. That's going to be
Davis.
crazy.
They got a college there.
There's a college there. It's very cultural.
Yeah.
They got I think there's like a vegan burger place there.
I saw a lot of shows at that UC Davis though. Man.
That was awesome.
Wow, like Faith No More, Danzig.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Caius. They would have them at the college. It was rad.
Oh man, KDVS was a station that we could listen to, the college radio station, and in the early 80s, through the 80s, where it was like, alternative rock, right? But I would get turned on to so much shit that wasn't on the radio, and I'd hear about all this new music, from that. You know? Yeah.
Sac had some pretty good venues too.
Absolutely.
It had the boardwalk, But was that one little one that was downtown at the Press Club?
Oh, Press was awesome. That was a great
that place
place.
was great,
Yeah. Old Ironsides.
Old Ironsides, dude. That was a great venue.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Sacramento there was a thing going on there in the 80s. And there was a lot of really good bands, a lot of good musicians, everyone was in a sort of like, whether they knew it or not, inferiority complex,
Oh, yeah.
'Cause, you're living in Sacramento and you're just kind of like, yeah, we're cool.
Sac was a rock town, though, man. I would go to Sacramento State Fair every summer. I saw Aerosmith there. I saw Judas Priest there on that outdoor rink-a-dink amphitheater there.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
And man, Sac rocked big time. That boardwalk, everybody played there,
Oh, yeah. Dude, the Cal Expo thing.
Oh.
I saw the Police there on their first tour.
Wow.
No, sorry, second tour.
79, 80?
It was a 79, and they came out and they had the first album had been out, so Roxanne was a hit.
Right.
Maybe So Lonely was out or whatever. And then he's like, we're going to play a new one. They played Walking on the Moon. It hasn't even been out on a record yet, And it was such a great song.
Yeah.
Obviously, you knew the chorus the second time it came,
Yeah.
They were pretty good. That band. It was a pretty good band.
I saw Josh Freese invited me to see Sting rehearse about 3 months ago in Vegas.
Nice.
It was me and like 20 people. I brought my dog. My dog saw Sting. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I was about 2 feet from him because I saw him at the Cow Palace on the Ghost in the Machine.
I was
tour.
there when he had a sandwich. Did you notice that he walked out on stage and he's like they're a little bit late. He walks out. He has a sandwich on his amp. He starts playing the song in between vocals. He's like eating the sandwich. He's like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm fucking hungry."
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
That record and that band. But anyway, I'm watching him and, I don't know, he's like 90 and, he's just right there killing it on the bass like it's nothing.
Yeah.
His vocals, his moves, his outfit, everything about him. I go, this guy's a genius, man. I love him,
Yeah, and he's done things to kind of keep himself sharp,
Yeah.
He's like, his yoga thing, he's like totally into. I mean, we can make fun of people who do yoga, but
whatever.
They are
yoga.
fucking standing up straight and doing stuff. And that guy, he's amazing. And Josh is killing that gig. He sounds incredible. Man.
Yeah.
He was posting these vids of him, like have a little camera behind him while he's playing, and it's just unbelievable. It's like, sometimes I see stuff like that. I'm like, why am I even doing this? why am I wasting other people's time listening to me play drums?
Well, I mean, you're a great drummer, and you were like one of the early on guys that I knew as like a session guy. It was like, when I first was, I knew about the session guys, the 70s, the 80s guys, the big dudes, that played on like everything. But then there was this time where in the 90s where all of a sudden your name was nonstop coming up. And I was like, who is this guy? What, and he plays on everybody's record. And then, I meet you eventually through Immergluck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a tough gig and you got there and you got a lot of gigs out of it. Let's get into how do you start playing drums in Sacramento? Is it the Police? What gets you into it?
I mean, basically, just always obsessed with music as a kid for whatever reason. No other musicians in my family. And one day at Disneyland, standing there, seeing this band, I was like 11 years old, and I see the musicians up there playing, these guys in the French Quarter at Disneyland. And I just told my mom and dad, I'm going to go stand behind them. I want to stand behind them. And okay. So I go back there and I see the drummer and I see his body, like this hand is making the snare sound, the foot with a kick. And I could see like a magician doing the magic trick from behind. I was like, oh, that's how you pull the rabbit out of the hat. That's the way. And I decided in that moment, I'm going to play drums.
That's funny.
That's what I'm going to do. And I just went and told my mom and dad, I'm going to play drums. That's nice. And no, seriously, like, in a few years when you want me to go to college, I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to get in a van. And don't worry, it's going to work out,
Yeah.
How could it not, But Yeah, so
I'll be playing Disneyland.
yeah, I'll be fucking rocking Disneyland. Don't worry about me, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's
Yeah.
Josh Freestyle too.
Dude, that is total Josh Freestyle.
I saw Sister Sledge at Disneyland when I was a
Dude,
kid.
come on
it
now.
They came out from that stage at
Oh hell yeah,
Rose Up.
Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
yeah. Don't think I don't know about that.
family.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I never forgot it. But yeah, that's funny because it's weird where you're going to see music and what grabs you first. Of course, Kiss for me, but really it's Partridge Family.
Oh,
you know,
Partridge
for me,
Family, yeah,
I
hell
think
yeah.
I love you,
Yeah.
you know, and
Killer.
Bye Bye Miss American Pie, Don McLean.
Yeah,
These
nice.
were some of the early, you know,
Yeah.
KFRC, Disco Duck,
Oh, yeah.
whenever a weird hit came on,
Yeah.
you know, you got into it.
Well, I would like ride the bus every morning to school. KFRC.
Oh, the best. Dr. Don.
Dr. Don D. Rose, man,
Mm-hmm.
and the hits just would keep on coming, and it was
Totally.
just an education. I remember hearing "It's Only Rock and Roll," but I like it, you know, on the radio. And like, like for me, man, like I grew up in a neighborhood that was very, very racially diverse. There's
Right.
a lot of like Chicano culture, a lot of, you know, there were a lot of black people, a lot of, you know, and so the music that we were all into, or were like all of that Santana, Malo, El Chicano, all that sort of War, especially War,
Oh.
which still is one of my top 10 bands.
Unbelievable.
Incredible band. And but then also all the 70s funk, you know, Parliament,
Oh, yeah.
Commodores, Earth, Wind and Fire, Ohio Players,
Lakeside.
Sparkades. Lakeside a little bit later, but that early Ohio Players, way
Yeah.
into Diamond, the drummer, and so I was just into that, and I kind of wore it as a badge of honor, you know, that was my shit, and I also as a way to kind of survive, you know, because I was like trying to be in with dudes, you know, like oh, you know, don't fuck with him, he's cool, he likes
Earth,
Ohio,
Wind and Fire.
he likes Ohio Players, man, he's cool, like don't fuck with him, you know, but that was my music that I was really into. And I was a funk drummer, and I played in bands with, you know, just to say, like a lot of black and brown people, man, and they you know, the fact that they would let this little white boy be in their band, for me, it was like a thing, man. I could feel it then, and I was really into that music. And then a little bit later, some of my friends are like, "We're gonna go see Led Zeppelin." I'm like, "Fuck Led Zeppelin, they fucking suck," you know. Obviously. Wasn't so right about that, but I didn't know then. You know, I was young, and it's weird, man, because one of the first kind of rock-ish things that I got into was Fleetwood Mac. Like I heard the Chain. I was in my car, and I heard the Chain, and I heard that bump, 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 that bump. Bump, you know, and then down, 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 down,
Yeah.
and it's just so killer. And I was like, whoa. And you know, I'm smoking a joint, and I'm turning it up and driving really fast, and I started getting that feeling of the energy, like when it goes to the double time, and he does that incredible solo. And you know, so fast forward, you know, I'm playing with Lindsey Buckingham now, and I told him that story literally yesterday. I told him, I said, yeah, you are the guy that kind of introduced me to like rock and roll, like, you know, because I was a snob about it, and I was an idiot that I could have seen Led Zeppelin, and I didn't go. And Bonham now is one of my favorite drummers, but that's just how it was when we were kids. I was into that. Then, like, you know, that Rumors album, also Aerosmith Rocks.
Oh yeah.
What was another one? Some Girls.
Oh, what
You know, those
that was
records-
great because that was kind of disco-y soul.
Well, there's,
you know,
I mean, the
funk.
Stones are just playing black American music straight up.
Yeah.
They'll tell you that all day long. Anyone who's really a musician or whatever, you know that it's black American music.
Yeah.
Is the essence
And
of
Some
rock and
Girls
roll.
was like, Miss You was all over KFRC.
Dude, it was insane, man.
Oh, and they come in 78 and they play Oakland, A Day in the Green on Jagger's birthday.
Incredible.
They drop the ping pong balls from the sky. It's like
Yeah.
a giant fucking thing, man.
Incredible, dude.
And
And
that's really my gateway into the Stones other than Satisfaction.
Well, that's the thing about us. Like, we can be like, you know, at our age, we're like, oh yeah, man, Some Girls, man, that takes me way back. You know, that's like the middle of their career. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like that was a comeback record for them.
Yeah,
you know?
that's third guitar player in, you know? It's
Exactly.
fucking crazy.
And they have like, you know, Respectable on there, which
Oh,
is like
yeah.
a good, like practically like a Replacements kind of vibe, you
Yeah,
know. And then Shattered considered it's like the new wave punk thing.
Yeah,
And
some girls' song is super like you couldn't even do that one right now. You know?
Exactly.
PC world.
They do it occasionally.
Yeah.
And he changed the lyrics. He's like, okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna grow up a little bit. You know,
Whip
whatever.
comes down.
Oh, dude, come on.
Come on, dude.
Come on all day.
What about the artwork and the fucking cover and the
This friend of mine gave me a box set of that.
Wow.
And it's an amazing. It's loaded with all these incredible photos, and and it's also got that. They've got some really cool country tunes on there. Have you ever? What is that girl with the faraway eyes?
Oh yeah,
on
that's
there?
so great. Yeah, the girl with a frown. He's just got that character. I was driving past Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Well,
how could I just be like, I'm just going to be like, if people say like, you can't, what kind of style of drums do you play? It's like, well, I only play funk. No, I only play rock. No, fuck that. Like Mick Jagger's like, I can sing any way I want. I can play drums however I want.
Yeah,
like whatever you're into, any genre of music in any era, 5% of it's good and the rest of it sucks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe the 70s and the 60s has a little higher ratio of good stuff,
Right.
Maybe not though. I don't know. But nowadays, trap, I wouldn't say I'm an aficionado, but there's 5% of that shit that's going to stand the test of time. It's going to last. And
Totally.
the rest of it sucks,
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. I think at least.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a whole different world. I mean, just you talking about like naming all of these groups: Earth, Wind and Fire, War, multicultural ethnic bands. I can't really name any right now. New bands, like 10 bands that have different races in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you? I mean, you got hip hop, which is rap, and then you've got rock and you got country.
Yeah.
But you don't really have that kind of R&B, funk. Back then there was like 20, 30 bands on the radio.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking to that, are there even any bands?
Right.
Everyone's a solo artist.
There's no bands.
Now.
You're right. There's no bands.
Some solo artists are multicultural, in their backup band.
Well, of
like
course,
D'Angelo has a little bit of probably.
John Mayer
certainly.
100%. Yeah. But I'm saying bands.
Was a hero of mine on drums right now. I mean, he had Aaron Sterling for a while.
Right.
He's had the greatest drummers. John Mayer, if I could ever play with John Mayer, God, I love that dude so much.
So do
he's
I.
fantastic.
So do I.
And I remember hearing him, that Room for Squares, his very first record. It was just, I randomly heard it in some like music store when it first came out. And I was like, who the hell is this? This like James Taylor sounding dude. Whatever the hell's going on there. That dude's cool because it didn't sound like anything else. Like he just had like good songs, good singing. Oh, wow, it's actually a bridge there.
Yeah.
Good playing. And I was like, like not trying to be anything, just kind of a good sort of vibe.
Songwriter.
And, obviously he's proven that to be true.
Yeah.
That song Gravity, man, with Steve Jordan on drums.
Oh, dude, man.
That's a killer. That chord, when that chord change hits, you're just like,
I told him a couple weeks ago, I went to the show and I hit him, because I love the Born and Raised record. And I was one of those dummies that hated him just because out of jealousy.
He was hateable.
Also, I was like, doing singer-songwriter. I'm like, oh, this guy's so good because he's hot looking, you know? Like, you're just being dumb. And then later I'm like, it's kind of good that I didn't dig it because now I got this great body of work I can listen to, and I'm not, I just keep going back. But, he played Gravity. I saw him twice in the last couple months, Palladium and then the Forum.
Palladium, nice.
Yeah, I know. That song is so fucking good.
It's once that happened, it's like, say what you want. Say what you want, but...
I shout him out. I fucking shout that guy out. Huge props, non-stop.
And now he's got Ferroni playing drums.
Yeah.
Now
Are you a big fan of him?
Huge. I mean, he's from Average White Band.
Right.
He's the guy who played on the song Schoolboy Crush, which is like been sampled 1,000 times in the 90s. And it has this beat that's like, it's just got this perfect swing without any 16th notes to sort of let you feel. It's just how he places the bass drum. the dude is amazing, right? And so he played Cut the Cake. He played all this like sort of complicated funk.
Yeah.
And really great. Arif Martin, the producer, loved him and used him on everything. And then he went to like
Petty for years.
Well, he was, ultimately Tom Petty's drummer. But
Right.
I mean, the guy was like with Brian Ferry for a really long time.
Wow.
He was with Eric Clapton, and that's like kind of shiny 80s version of Eric Clapton. He's just an incredible drummer. Now playing with John Mayer. At
Yeah.
71, looking good, doing it. Like, that's a shining light for me to look to, you know?
Yeah.
Inspiration.
He is a perfect example to me of what I always talk to people. I just talked to Ann Wilson about it 2 days ago from Heart.
Nope. Heard of her.
Yeah, you heard of her, right? She's got some couple tunes on the radio.
Yeah.
But you think about, to me, my introduction to him is from Tom Petty.
Yep.
And so then I'm like, oh man, I need that goddamn fucking, that swing, you know?
Good to Be King. You know that song, Good to Be King? It's on.
Yeah, I love that, yeah.
That's the example of his swing. And then also, you know, that boom, boom, fight.
Yeah.
Let's get.
Oh, yeah,
to the
yeah.
point. That beat, man.
But who played that? That was...
That's him, dude.
He played that on
That's
that
him.
record?
It's not Grohl. Some people might think it's Dave Grohl because he was on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
But no, that's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild to think how you can just get a drummer in, and then a different drummer, then a different drummer, and the band completely feels different. Good example would be
True.
from Steven Adler to Matt Sorum on GNR.
They got super tight all of a sudden.
Yeah, because you used to have that swing of Rocket Queen and stuff, and then it gets into this different feel.
Yeah.
They're all different, and they're all obviously great drummers because they're in the biz, and you don't work in this biz if you're a bad drummer. You do, but not with the biggies, you know?
And not for long. You might get lucky and hang for a couple of years or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that ride fades out, and then nobody picks you up again because you really don't have it. I guess, you know?
Yeah. There's all kinds of weird shit too. You got drummers that can play live, but you get them in the studio and they get quote unquote red light fever.
Yeah.
They just can't record.
Yeah.
You know, their brain, they're like, oh God, it's on tape, and they're pushing or they're dragging or whatever.
And it's a different thing in the studio too, because you got to really play to the mics, and you got to understand how to push the sound and make it come out of the speakers and interact with the engineer. And there's another trick to it. You play differently in the studio than you do live, you know? It's
also,
a different thing.
I think the number one thing is, and especially being a session guy, is the hangability. If you come in and you're a dick, or you're late, or you're just some kind of fuck, you're not going to work. Nah. So I find the guys that work a lot are the dudes that also are great hang. You know? You hang with the person, you go, this guy's great, you know?
Yeah.
So how you get your Disneyland Thrill, you get your first drum kit, what is it?
It's a 65 Ludwig Orange Sparkle.
Oh, wow.
No heads on the bottom. One rack, one floor. Yeah, I played that for a long time.
That's a cool kit.
Yeah, dude. And it was a cool story too. Like anyway, that was my first kit, and I love that drum set. 65 Ludwig. Yeah, totally love that. And the next one was a Rogers. I got that a little bit later when I got in my first like kind of working band. I was playing in that band. We were a cover band. Played funk and disco. Played like 5 sets a night, 6 nights a week, and I did it for about 7 years.
Sacramento bar scene. Right.
You know, still in high school playing, you know, my parents like, you know, if you can keep your grades up, I'm like doing my homework during the break, you know,
and what
doing a little
did you
cocaine
have to
probably. That? Oh shit. I hope my mom doesn't hear this, but yeah, it was the 70s, man. It was
you were doing some cocaine?
You know, maybe a little bit. Yeah. And then later a lot. Quite a lot, yeah. But I've been sober for 32 years now.
There you go. Yeah.
So anyway, I digress. But we were playing, you know, all the funk and disco hits of the day. And when Disco Inferno came, you know, and I loved playing that shit, man. I would just like fucking put that down and just pound that shit, man, like hypnosis, you know. And then later in the 80s, it prepared me for like, you know, the kind of Talking Heads vibe and the sort of like those kind of rigid kind of rhythms of the 80s. The disco thing kind of got me ready for that.
Yeah.
And I got in a band. These two guys came into the club where I was playing. They were in this band called Uncle Rainbow, which was kind of a famous band in NorCal but they were like yacht rock, and and yacht rock was over. It was done.
Right.
It wasn't even called yacht rock yet, but they were like, they had the, the shag haircuts and the, Fu Manchus and shit, and they're all like, they're off the, Doobie Brothers minute by minute vibes. Which is killer, totally killer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm still listening to that shit for sure, but that was over, and these two guys in that band had gone to New York, and they kind of encountered like, Keith Haring, New York new wave culture.
Velvet Underground and shit.
Well, yeah, but Talking Heads, they were into like this quirky, weird funk, Gang of Four, and they came back and they're like, dude, we gotta change our whole vibe, and their band's like, no fucking way, and they're like, okay, we quit, and then they cut all their hair off, and they started going around and they're looking for drummers, and I was in this band, and our band was a good like that kind of cover band, but we didn't really have any originality in terms of songwriting. We just didn't really quite have it, Right. But we were good as a cover band. People liked us, and these guys are over there and like looking at me. I'm like, what are these guys doing? And they finally came up after a couple of nights, and they're like, we want you to. They said the thing that musicians always say. Well, I know you're doing something, and we really don't want to mess up your thing. They always say, like, they don't fucking care if you mess up your thing. But do you want to come, be in our band? And I couldn't believe these dudes were asking me. I'm like, they don't know I'm not good enough to do this gig, but I'm not going to tell them, And I just went there, but all they wanted was somebody who played simple. They were into Chris Frantz, Talking Head. They were into this thing, and that I could do. And when I got in there, you had a TR-808 drum machine, which is like the trap drum machine still to this day. They had that. He had a Prophet 5, like the Prince kind of keyboard sound.
Right.
He just pushed the drum machine. I had learned all the songs. I knew all their songs and everything. Just pushes the drum machine, and him and the bass player, they'd start playing. And I'm setting up my little Rogers drum set, and I start playing along to it. And about half an hour later, they just stopped, and they just said, you're in, man. You want to do this. And I'm like, but I learned all your songs. They're like, don't worry, man. If you can play to the drum machine and play straight funky like that, then you're in, And that band signed a record deal with Island.
Whoa.
Yeah,
was that Bourgeois Tagg?
Bourgeois Tagg, yeah.
Right, and then Todd Rundgren produces the record, right?
He produced the second album, and he was such a, pretty seriously difficult. Not difficult, but he was hard to work for because he had a way where it was a little boot camp-ish, and I was in awe of him. I loved Herman of Mink Hollow and Something Anything. I was really into Todd. I also loved that XTC record he had just done. God, I can't remember the name of the album, but he did an XTC record. It's a brilliant album. And so here I am out in fucking, Bearsville, Herman, Mink Hollow Road where Todd lives, and he's producing us, and he just was like hammering me every day, like, oh, you sound like you're in fucking Toto. You're so professional. Like you play why the fuck am I even record you more than once? You play the same thing every time. Like everyone knows you're really good, Michael, at playing really tight to the click track. Why don't you play something inspiring? Do you even know what that is?
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, he was just like hammering me, and I'm like 25 years old. I'm like,
I knew dudes like that. Man.
Oh my God,
you're singing flat. Now you're singing sharp. Now I don't even know what note you're singing, and they just beat you down to where you're just like, am I even any good?
Yeah, why should I be here?
Yeah.
But he really was right. I was just doing the same thing over and over again. And it finally got through to me. And then after our band broke up, after Bourgeois Tagg broke up, we did 2 albums for Island, got signed by Chris Blackwell, signed like U2 and Bob Marley, a couple unknown people.
Vane.
Yeah.
They were on Island.
Vane?
Yeah, they were on
fucking
Island.
Awesome.
Later
man.
on.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But
And so Chris Blackwell tells me like, you're going to be a star, I was like, whoa. And, and here's the, well, anyway, and then,
here's the line of blow.
No, I didn't say it. And yeah, man, those are some times, but,
yeah, absolutely.
So Todd calls me the day after our band breaks up and says, hey, what are you doing now? I mean, I heard what happened. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, well, you want to be in my band?
Oh.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I thought you hated
me.
I thought you hated me, man. He's like, no, I was just producing you. Like, I go, well, are you going to be that way in this band? He's like, no, you're in the band. Just do your thing. If I don't like it, I'll tell you. But no, I'm not producing you anymore. So yeah, man, I got to be in Todd's band, and all of a sudden I moved up a level to where we're playing, good sized theaters, and for once, I wasn't in the opening band. You just mentioned Ann Wilson. They really loved Heart.
Right.
I mean, they really loved Bourgeois Tagg. Heart loved Bourgeois Tagg in the 80s, and they took us out on tour, and I got to play all these arenas opening for Heart.
Whoa.
And it was like, maybe a month or two of doing that. Bill Graham was our manager, Bourgeois Tagg's manager.
Oh, man.
And they connected us to Hart. And I'm out there with Denny Carmassi, who played with,
Fuck yeah. We were just talking about him.
Oh, he was an incredible drummer.
Yeah.
Totally incredible drummer. Played with, he's the drummer on Rock Candy on Montrose.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Killer dude. And the guy would let me, he knew I was like trying to learn. And he was so cool. He's like, here's a drum stool. You could sit behind me during the show. Wow. And like there's like this giant arena tour.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. And every night I sat behind him and watched him play.
Wow.
And watched how he did it, watched how he hit the snare, watched how he placed the beat, watched how he handled the pressure of the lights and everything, and I mean, the dude took me out on the town a couple of times.
Total fucking just masterclass.
Totally.
Well, it's like last night I went on stage and then I got handed a note and I brought up Chris Rock. He's one of the reasons. He's one of the reasons I do comedy.
Nice, dude, fantastic.
Yeah, so I immediately go back, sit down, and I watch him do comedy for 1 hour. And I've said this many times. The Comedy Store is like if somebody early on said, do you want to watch AC/DC rehearse every day? Mm-hmm. You're just in this boot camp masterclass of these kings, and I'm just watching them, and you learn so much. That arena tour, you learn everything. You learn about how, what does he work out in the morning? Does he stretch? Does he do drugs? Does he drink water or booze? Or does he fucking, get tired? What's in his monitor mix? Is it just bass or everything?
It's all that stuff, every detail. And also the way that he played in the arena, the certain way that he played in the arena, like would hold the snare more on the backside to give it a bigger sound, and just the way he hit the drums and the whole deal, man. It was amazing, and life changing. I mean, I don't even know if he knows that he changed my brain for sure,
Right.
And there's been a bunch of drummers like that along the way. Another guy's Donnie Wynn, who played with when I was in Bourgeois Tagg. We opened for Robert Palmer when he had Addicted Love was a hit.
Oh man,
and there's a drummer named Donnie Wynn who was with Robert Palmer at the time. And we would play. Our band played "In My System," which is a song that Robert Palmer covered. But we didn't. It didn't sound like it sounded when they played it because they knew how to play the big rooms. Like as soon as we got into these bigger places, I'm like, we don't sound good anymore because it's a different trip, man. It's a different way to play in that room.
Yeah.
And you got to play a little bit less. You got to play with a little more strength, and you got to play a little bit more behind. And so these. Along the way, you get lucky if you get to see somebody and you're smart enough or whatever to really, if you love music enough that you're going to pay attention. Like, I want to know. Yeah. It's just like seeing that man at Disneyland. The first time I saw somebody play, I just want to fucking know. Like, how do you do this? And these people that teach you along the way, it's awesome.
It is. I do comedy in arenas once in a while now.
There you go. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and thank God, right before I was getting ready to do some of the big rooms, Marin came up to me in the parking lot. At the
Congratulations on all that too, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Because I knew you back in the day.
Yeah,
and it's fucking awesome to see.
It's so weird, right?
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, and you've been grinding, and hats off to you, dude.
But he pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, you've got it, no problem. Don't worry about your jokes and who you are. I'm going to give you one tip: when you're in the arena, go slow.
Yeah,
because it takes a while for the people in the back to get the joke and hear it,
get
and
the
then
timing.
The laughs come, and don't steamroll over the laughs. And if he wouldn't have told me that, I would only be going off the timing of the first 10 rows, because that's all you're really hearing. The laughs there,
sure.
And there's shit in the back getting ready to come. And he told me that, and I went slow, and I was like, whoa!
It worked, right?
Yeah, they come at you like waves. You
know?
Well,
well, that's the same thing with kicking a kick drum and a snare drum, and to give it the right space, be able to play that size, So that's exactly what you're saying, and
that's wild.
It's the same kind of thing, man.
So you're out with Todd Rundgren, and how long you do that?
Todd was only a few years, a couple of years, went all around the world. Incredible band, huge band. Vince Welnick, who later went on to play, he played with the Tubes, went with the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Lyle Workman is like a big soundtrack dude now. Yeah. He was in Bourgeois Tagg. It was a killer band. This guy with Byron Albright, he played with Steve Miller, played all the trippy stuff on Time Keeps On Ticking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, and it was a great band.
You got any good Bill Graham stories? Because I absolutely,
dude, I got a great one.
I love Bill Graham.
He was fucking
he's the reason
fantastic.
I'm alive.
No.
Well, because fucking music, what he brought to the Bay Area and provided with all, dude, those Dan the Greens taught me everything. I go 10 in the morning and I see fucking AC/DC, Journey, Cheap Trick, Ted Nugent, and BOC, all on one bill for like $10,
Yeah, exactly.
Just fucking guy he was the god, man.
He was pretty amazing. And a lot of people talk shit, because they're idiots and they don't really know what's up. But the guy had a gigantic heart and loved music so much.
Yeah.
And
he loved the Bay Area.
Loved the Bay. He was fucking fantastic, man. He was just a great dude. He rode on the bus with us. He came out because he knew that we were kids, and he was like, "I'm gonna school these little motherfuckers," And he was like, he just came out, showed up at a gig, unannounced, shows up at this gig. When we're out on tour with Heart, I think I had a Run DMC T-shirt on, and I play with that on stage. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you got a Run DMC T-shirt on? Those guys are cool. It's not the right room for that T-shirt. You don't want to go on stage with that T-shirt. Oh, you're opening for Heart. I get the subversive thing. I understand your subversive nature, Michael, but figure it out. Read the room, man. Like don't go on stage with Run DMC because they were like actually a little bit like revolutionary at the time, especially for Heart fans in Norfolk, Virginia, or whatever. Of
course.
So that's one thing. But he got on the bus with us and he hung out with us for a few days.
Wow.
So I asked him so many questions because I freak out when I'm around a legend.
Same here.
Yeah, dude. So I asked him a bunch of questions. One time we were opening for Madness in New York.
Whoa.
And they the classic thing that English roadies will do is like they fuck with the opening band, especially if they're Americans. And they had all their gear and they left it all in the middle of the stage. They had like this big CP70 keyboard in the front and all this shit right in the middle of the stage. And we had all this stuff that we were like we're gonna play, And we had no room. They're like, "Fuck you, we're not moving this shit," And so we called Bill, who happened to be in New York, and he came down there.
Whoa.
And he fucking went off, man. Wow. He was like, "You motherfuckers, you come into my club, my place." And he just, get all your fucking shit off stage right now. You're lucky I even let you play this fucking show. I was like, whoa.
I had another guy on this show and he said the same thing.
Yeah.
The headliner was treating him like shit, kicked him out of the dressing rooms and stuff. You guys just dress over in the corner there. The roadies were doing it.
And Bill.
He came down there and fucking went crazy on them. Same fucking thing.
Because he didn't like that like superstar bullshit.
Yeah.
He's like, we're all here to work. We're all here to make music.
Yeah.
These guys were trying to come up just like you were trying to come up. What the fuck,
Yeah.
So, but, he wasn't only that way. He was cool, really encouraging. He would talk about like trying to be real with your music. And he was a great dude, man.
Yeah.
I am super grateful that I knew that guy.
I fucking love that. I met him one time at a parking lot at Metallica, Oakland, Day on the Green, Metallica Scorpions.
Awesome.
It was like 10 in the morning. We're out there drinking beers. He just pulls up in a golf cart. He goes, "Hey, assholes. Go inside before you get in trouble."
I love it.
I know. We're like, "Oh, Bill. Okay, man."
Oh,
and we just
fantastic.
listened to him.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, this is the guy that's like touring with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
He's like top.
Yeah.
But no, he's at the fucking golf cart in a parking lot with the kids and the beer. Like, hey, go inside before you get in trouble. Here's an apple.
Yeah.
Like. What a trippy
great.
guy.
Oh, my God. I loved him.
Yeah,
man.
And, his life story is amazing.
Oh, insane, dude.
Yeah,
insane.
hardcore.
Oh, my God. Escaping,
Exactly.
And getting to New York, not having any family. I think it was just him and his sister.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
People can't even fucking live without their phone right now.
Yeah.
This guy's like, unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, amazing dude. Yeah.
So after Todd Rundgren,
Yep.
I start seeing you around the Bay Area, and you're playing. I remember the Kinetics.
Yep, Kinetics, loved
fucking
Kinetics.
Great.
Tragic that band is not still together today.
Oh, in that
Incredible
room. What was
band.
that room in the Mission?
Bruno's.
Oh, come on.
What a scene, man.
Dude.
What a scene.
The Cork room?
Dude, I felt like I was in in the Stones, man.
Dude.
I would walk up and there'd be a line around the block with like every, you know, groovy hipster in town and every, you know, model. And it was just hilarious, man.
It was so weird because San Fran had never achieved that kind of hipness. It was always like more hippie or punk rock or stoner. But this was kind of a little New York going on.
Yeah, it was.
And you'd go into the cork room and it'd just be beautiful people and this fantastic fucking music, basically kind of like funky meters, you know,
stuff a lot like of that.
Yeah. And just unbelievable. And Zan is just a god.
Oh, Zan.
He's just up there fucking just killing, you know.
Incredible. It's like playing with like Brian
Jones.
Yeah, he looks like Brian Jones. His sound, he has used those really fat strings on his guitar and play all the single note funk lines and super perfectly in time. And he and I had this like thing where we were locked, and then the bass player had this really cool, like kind of quirky, like sort of jerky. Like it's just he played short notes and he was really intentional with everything he played, and so our band had this sort of like rigid kind of funk that was really cool, you know. It was kind of quirky, but people were moving, man. And then you have Bart Davenport.
Yeah,
he's basically a genius, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy deserves to be a household name. He's an incredible musician, and the story, like the life of Bart and Zan as they were kids, you know, in that mod scene in the '80s in Berkeley, and all these. You can look at Berkeley mods on Instagram. You should check it out, dude. Yeah. The photos are unbelievable. It's like these kids. What the fuck? I mean, anyway, Berkeley Mod's Instagram, you got to see that shit.
I got to see that.
It's crazy. And you can see Bart and Zan when they're like 13 years old and they're already in the Rolling Stones. I mean, they look incredible. They're already singing their asses off and playing like there's destiny for those guys.
They were fucking great. What was going on with that band? Did you have a deal or something? Or because it was red hot.
It was super hot. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. For some reason, we couldn't figure it out in the studio. We couldn't figure out how to like capture our thing. We couldn't figure out. I don't know. It just wasn't in the cards for us, you know, to make it happen. And then it fell apart. You know, it just fell apart. Right. There's a lot of kind of maybe contrary nature that like made that band, the specialness, the sort of contrary, like, you know, we don't want to do what everyone else is doing thing, kind of maybe scared away some record labels where they
didn't know what to do with it, right?
They kind of like, what are these guys like? Are they going to work with us? Are they going to be
right?
Are they did they have success on the brain, or they're just like, I don't know what it was, man, but it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. But man, what a great moment! And you know, we get together and we play every so often, and people freak out when we do.
Wow!
And it's badass. I mean, I'm super grateful to have been a part of that. The Kinetics, they were awesome.
Now, what was that? Did you guys play every Thursday or Monday or whatever? It was like every week, right?
We played every Tuesday at Bruno's,
right,
and then usually we played the weekend somewhere else.
I just remember Bruno's. I'd go down there.
We just had a Tuesday night residency there, and we just did it for like a year and a half, you know, and it was just insane. It was insane. It was so great that to be, you know, you see some of these album covers, like, you know, that album cover where I think, which one is it? That Marvin Gaye, it's a cartoon of all these people dancing in like a really tight little place. Like, I can't remember which album that is, but I think it's got well, whatever. But I would always imagine like that, like we should have a cartoon of this scene of these people, because it would be so packed and everyone's dancing, it's all sweaty and people moving. And I would get these visions in my brain of like a cartoon version of this thing, you know, because we were like cartoons. I mean, you know, I considered myself like a fairly slick looking dude or whatever. I walked down the street with Bart and Zan and John, and I'd be fucking invisible. And these guys are they were so amazing. I mean, like, I'm not even here, you know. Yeah. I'm like a little fodder in the background, you know.
It was like straight shagadelic, you know.
Totally.
Like, totally. Like, you'd walk in and you'd be like, oh, whoa. And, you know, I think at that time I was rocking my Black Crowes bell bottom. I would just have kind of this, I always loved that Greg Allman look.
That's a good look, man.
Meets Cliff Burton.
They have respect for that look. Believe me.
Oh,
Believe me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
They would see that and recognize for sure.
Zan played a couple gigs with me in my solo band years later.
Awesome.
It was just wild to have, because he was so different than anything I'd ever played with, you know? But he laid it down. There was guys like in the Bay that didn't make it. Like there's that band Mover.
They were killer, yeah.
Oh, the bass player in that band, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But there was these bands, you'd be like,
Mike Terrio, he
Yeah.
played with Bart and Zan.
hey, you go, this fucking band's insane.
Yeah, they were great. And that's what's the guy's name? Eric, the singer, writer.
I forget his name. I just remember the bass player.
Yeah. Yeah, they were killer.
Yeah.
There was I mean, that's how it is, man. There's always people doing their thing, and you never know why these.
Yeah, man, the Bay is just nuts, man.
Yep. Todd Rundgren.
Yeah, Todd
killer,
Rundgren.
Amazing, going on tour with Todd. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, incredible. Like, oh, this is what it's actually like to not be hated. Like to be the headliner and people be into the music.
Right.
It was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I got to play with him, and I learned so much playing with that guy, and went to Japan. That was incredible. It was my first tour where I wasn't an opening band.
Do you start getting into some cool drum endorsements and shit? Like what were you playing then?
I was playing Yamaha. I didn't have an endorsement. I was playing a Yamaha recording series like everybody was doing in the 80s, and like a Steve Gadd kit, which is a great kit, and I still have it, and I love it. And but I didn't have an endorsement. I didn't have an endorsement with anybody in those days. And then the next thing that happened was that the 90s came.
Right.
And it was like, okay, so what's up with this, And I just sort of sounded, after Todd, it's like Todd sort of knighted me. He's sort of like, I deem you a worthy drummer,
Right.
Like, oh, who do you play with? I play with Todd Rundgren. Then you obviously are a good drummer.
Yeah, it's like if you're in Steely Dan.
I don't know if I've ever made it there, but if I could, it was sort of like I'm still the same drummer, but people see me in a different way.
Totally.
All of a sudden, it's like, okay, I'm going to take a chance on you. I'm going to hire you for a session. And I started getting all these calls.
Wow. Who was the first one?
The first one, there was a guy named Matt Wallace who...
the producer?
Is a great friend of mine. Love that guy. Did Faith No More.
Yeah.
He was producing this guy, David Barrowald, and who went on to write a lot of hit songs and stuff. And so that was probably one of the first sessions I got, was doing that.
And this is interesting too, because one of the cool things about being a session drummer is you start to get to work in these iconic studios, the Plant, let's say,
Sunset
Sound, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and you're in these rooms and you're like, oh, whoa, man, these are the studios I heard about, you know?
Exactly. And I started learning about drumming in the studio and learning about different tones and different tunings and different ways to hit and, how to make a sound go through the mics and the mic pre's and the compressors and come out of the speakers in the right way, listening to the music and going, I think I need to tune this drum a little bit higher and hit it a little bit softer, but not in the middle, more on the side. And then you kind of do it and you listen and bam, that's it. It cuts through. And to this day, man, there'll be engineers or producers that they don't want you to do more than a couple of takes. And there's other guys that are do it until you feel like it's there. And for me, I'm the type of person I really love to try to find the nuances and try to make it special and come through the speakers. And often when I get a chance to do that, it works out really well, Other times you get lucky, you do the first or second take, and it happens, in terms of it's not only about how you play, but it's what drum you're using, how you're tuning it, how you're hitting it.
Oh, yeah.
All those little nuances, Yeah,
I had this one guy come in and do a session, and, he goes, man, I'm getting a lot of Eagles long run vibe from your music. And he just went out in the room and he just tuned the fucking snare. And all of a sudden it just sounded like long run.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, fucking beautiful.
That's what you want.
Completely changed. You don't need the high cracking snare on a fucking, singer-songwriter. You wouldn't do high cracking on Carole King's Tapestry.
No, probably not. Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
So guys that know that shit, also each room in the studios, I've recorded in a lot of studios, and you go, this drum room's kind of weird, so you're going to have to do this for this room, or this one's really dead, or this one's really live. And you start to figure out, what to go when you're going in. Oh, I've been in the studio 10 times. I better bring this kit. You know?
Well, especially if you know what music.
Right, what music
is being recorded in that room.
Right.
And that's why I have this massive drum collection.
Yeah?
I've got, dude, it's insane.
What do you got? You got any Vista lights?
I do have Vista lights. I've got an Octobon, which means 8 toms, black smoke Vista-like kit from 8, 10, 12, 13,
Wow.
you know, all the way around.
Yeah.
And it's incredible, man. The thing is like loud as hell, and it's like it's full on Phil Collins, man. It's
Sick.
like it can totally get that Phil Collins sound with that. And I use those sizes like he has.
Yeah.
I love Phil Collins. I think he's amazing.
Right, yeah.
And I whenever I want, but someone will eventually ask, I want to get this 80s, you know, you know, and I'll bring that kit, and
Yeah.
they'll just be psyched, because you put
got
them.
any of the old Simmons?
I don't have any Simmons. No, I'm not a Simmons guy. But it's interesting you talk about electronics, because, you know, I'm playing with Lindsey Buckingham now, right? And he uses electronic drums. And when I got the gig with him, he's like, you know, he kind of like holds his breath for a second. He's like, you know, I use electronic drums. You good with that? I'm like, dude, I'll play a fucking trash can for you, man. Like, whatever you want, man. I mean, you know, you're Lindsey Buckingham, you know. I mean, I can't even believe I got this gig, you know. And so I'm playing these Roland V drums, and they're actually really killer.
Oh,
they're
those are
really
fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, Lindsey's into electronic sounds. I mean, he doesn't really go for like acoustic drum sounds. Like he's purposely going for like drum machine-y, electronic-y. That's what he's into, and it's what he's been into for a long time. And
I think that's what he brought around, like Tusk, right? Like,
well, he brought it. He really came with that for sure, like full on Tango of the Night. That's
Right.
what that album is like. Drum machine central, on a lot of samples, and it's crazy. Like when you listen to that guy's career, what he's able to do, where he's able to go, and how he's able to express himself in all these different ways. It's unbelievable. Like I was listening to this song. I think it's called Never Let Me Down Again. It's like a Buckingham Nicks song. It's like they have like Ron Tutt playing drums, and it's like this like total southern rock, like, oh, don't let me down again. And then you go, you know, then there's like Rumors, like, you know, Dreams, and, you know, Secondhand News, and Go Your Own Way, and then like a few years later, he's doing an album called Go Insane. It's like a Lynn drum machine and all synthesizers. It sounds it's not even the same.
right.
But
That's what's great about him, though.
Yeah, he's
Always
brilliant,
searching, man. Always searching.
Exactly. The guy really is a true artist. I mean, our set list speaks to that. It's like he could play more things maybe that people would recognize, but he wants to do what he needs to do. Like, you know, to do and you know, and his fans that love him and follow him, I think they appreciate that about him. You know,
Right.
that he's gonna like do what he's feeling, you know. And it's cool because when we play, I can tell he's feeling it. And dude, I'm sitting there in this rehearsal room. This is the last week, and he does a thing in the middle of the show where he plays acoustic guitar for like 15 minutes just by himself. And that's the best fucking part of the show. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He's
man.
insane, right?
He's playing this acoustic guitar, and like it sounds like three people.
No, man.
And then he just steps up to the mic and sings perfectly in tune, and he sings a song as if he's not playing guitar. And I mean, you know, there's a lot of people in that room. He's obviously been doing it for a long time. He's got a crew. They've been around. They've seen some shit. And every day at rehearsal, when that moment happens, everyone's jaws on the fucking floor, because it's magic.
Yeah.
This dude is just doing this thing, and it's just flowing through him, man. I mean, and he's like doing it. There's like fucking 20 idiots in there that are going to be on tour with them forever. Like,
yeah.
They're all family. Everyone's together. I'm the new guy. And he's just doing it as if he's like at Madison Square Garden. You know, he's just like playing Big Live. He's like, ooh. He's just doing the thing, man. He's just doing the...
How many songs in the set?
17, I think.
Wow.
17 songs. Yeah, he plays a bunch of stuff off of solo records. Then he does some older songs he kind of reinterprets on acoustic guitar, you know? Like, does like... Never Going Back Again, Fleetwood Mac song.
Oh, yeah.
But he kind of does it in this really interesting way. And does Think I'm in Trouble, which is off Law and
Wow.
Order's first solo record. Does Big Love, which is a big Fleetwood Mac hit from the 80s. And then we do Secondhand News, Tusk.
Love it.
Kind of a cool drum song.
I love Tusk.
Dude,
Tusk,
come on,
yeah,
man.
Tusk, they clown Tusk. I think it's fucking great.
Dude,
Did they record those drums in Dodger Stadium or something?
Well,
Like the
you know, I
fucking
don't even
Martians?
know. Well, yeah, they did record. I think they did use the USC Trojan band. They
Right.
recorded it in the USC Trojan Stadium. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, and it's funny because we played some recordings of the horns, you know,
Uh-huh.
and it's the one from the album that you're actually hearing live. You're hearing the horns that are on the album, and you know they they didn't have a click tracker, so their time is a little, they're just feeling it and they're just playing how you really play music, not metronomically. And so I'm playing to this, and I'm kind of like having to kind of swim around a little bit to the movement of the horns. And it's sick, man. It's like, I mean, dude, Lindsey Buckingham means so much to me as a musician. I'm so inspired by that guy forever. Then to get the gig with him is mind blowing. And then the other day we're at practice and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to hear a couple of new songs?" And I'm like, man, if 17-year-old me could say, like, when you're 62, Lindsey Buckingham, you're going to be in his band, and he's going to say, "You want to go hear a couple of new songs?" And I'm going to go out in the car, and I'm going to sit and he's going to like turn around and go, "So what do you think?"
Oh, man.
Dude. And the songs, of course, they're amazing. They're great. They're super modern. They have all these weird, like, electronic. So I'm thinking in my mind, how am I going to recreate this live? And I'm using this electronic drum kit now, so I'm learning about it, and I'm learning how to, like, create these sounds. And, so I'm thinking about that, and I just sort of flashed on, like, this is fucking insane. Like,
that's cool, too, because he's giving you a challenge at 62 years old, learning Roland V drums. Because I went to a demo of the Roland V drums and threw on some headphones, and this guy was like, "This thing will do anything."
Pretty much.
Here's fucking Back in Black,
Yeah.
And he goes, "Here's the fucking 80s, Pour Some Sugar on Me. Here's 70s fucking Freak Out, or whatever, just disco sounds and stuff." And then now he's adding guitars and shit. He's like, "Now I'm playing to a band and shit, all on this kit." I was like, wow.
Yeah,
man.
it's incredible.
Did somebody come in to teach you how to work this stuff? What's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, I first of all, I'm scratching the surface. I don't know. I have a really good tech who knows the gear, but probably even bigger is the previous drummer, Jimmy Paxson, great drummer, played with Lindsey for years, played with Stevie for years. Now is going to go play with the Chicks.
Oh, wow.
Awesome dude. Jimmy Paxson. Much love to Jimmy Paxson. He met me, and for 4 days I sat with him, and I just used all the sounds that he had programmed because he'd been out for a couple of legs on this tour with Lindsey. And he just sort of showed me, this is what I'm doing, And the thing is, the dude is so cool. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is cool how you're doing it. I'm kind of thinking I want to, like, add these, like, cymbal patterns over here and that maybe kind of augment it this way. And he's like, "Oh, wow. I like that better than what I was doing." So he's just a cool dude.
Yeah, no ego there. Like, do whatever you want, dude.
He was just kind of like, he kind of told me, like, I think this is what they're into. Go here, don't go there. Taught me. So Jimmy Paxson kind of schooled me a little bit on the Rolands, and I'm using his sounds that he used. I'm about to, like, take a class with a Roland rep on Wednesday. But I've been programming machines for years. I'm really into the MPC 3000. I had a period in the 90s and early 2000s. I was making tons of hip hop beats. I produced a hip hop record for Interscope, and so I'm into samples and into electronic sounds. Loved it since the 80s, man. Had an SP 1200. Loved Public Enemy.
Oh, come on. Dude.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah,
Fear of the Black Planet, I think, is the greatest.
Oh, dude, come on.
I mean, a lot of people love Nations, but to me, it's Fear of the Black Planet.
Fear of the Black Planet, I agree, is and Yo Bumbarcha's show is a.
Come on.
I mean, it almost got me fired from that band, Bourgeois Tagg, I was in. I was playing that one and King of Rock, Run DMC, banging it. They're like, "Dude, this is not real music." I'm like, "It's fucking real music."
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
To me, it was the new metal.
It was the new punk rock, whatever you want to call it.
It was new punk rock, new metal. It was just kind of like, oh, these guys are pushing it, you know?
Dude. And it was also amazing because I went over to England when Yo Bum Rush the show dropped, and they were like the Sex Pistols over there.
Yeah.
Like people like embraced that. They were like, there's a little bit more progressive thinking over there in general.
Yeah. And also the fashion of hip hop is so fucking mind boggling at that era. The sneaker culture is really born around that time.
Oh, sure.
And the sweatsuits and the hats, the Kango hats, the chains, all of that is so fucking rad to me, man. When I see like Glennie Friedman's photos from that era, of
awesome.
like New York, you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you love it when, culture comes out of like, people that are struggling and they figure out a way to express themselves and it connects to the entire world and changes fucking music,
It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, people can diss hip hop who don't understand it, but
oh, that's stupid. They just
it is because obviously if you just pay a little bit of attention and you love music, there's just such genius in there, So a lot of bullshit like every other stuff.
Other music.
You listen to any Bakersfield country, it doesn't matter what vibe it is. Somebody in there is like killing it. And certainly in hip hop, obviously that's happening.
How do you end up getting this gig?
The thing with Lindsey, the bass player Bob Glob that I had done some sessions with, he used to play with Linda Ronstadt, plays with Jackson Brown, plays on some Donna Summers hits. You know,
this killer! Which one?
I think he's on Bad Girls.
Oh man,
yeah. I might have it wrong, but I know he plays on dumb. But he's an amazing bass player, and I work with Mitchell Froome on occasion.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a killer producer, and he put me with Bob, and when we got together, Mitchell's eyes lit up, and he's like, "That's the pairing, Urbano and Bob."
Wow.
You know, that works, and we just kind of saw eye to eye on how to play together, and I just love that guy to death, man. He's an amazing musician, and he was talking to, you know, this is how this stuff works. You know, that's how you get a gig. It's like, you know, I need somebody to open for my show or whatever. It's not like they're not going on LinkedIn, you know, like they're like, oh, I know Dean. Like I work with Dean. Dean's cool. Like, and then you get the call, right? And so this guy who's in Lindsey's band asked Bob, like, we're looking for a drummer. He's like, I know the guy you should call. You should call Michael Urbano. The guy is like, loves Lindsey. I know he talks about Lindsey, and he's got a groove that I know will fit with you guys. You know.
Wow.
And
did you have to audition?
I did audition. I auditioned. There was a lot of other drummers, and audition was an incredible experience. I went in there. I asked to be the last guy, and I went in there. They'd already been playing all day. I learned 8 songs. I practiced a week, those 8 songs, and we played 4 songs. The last song was "Go Your Own Way."
Ooh.
I love Mick Fleetwood. I've been stealing from Mick Fleetwood forever. You know, I steal from all my favorite drummers. You know, Topper Headon is a guy I steal from a lot. So anyway, we're playing "Go Your Own Way," right? You know, we're playing this song, and I'm playing this song, dude, and I'm like going, if I don't get this fucking gig, I don't give a shit, because I'm playing this song with this guy right now, right in front of me. And here comes the guitar solo, and I'm thinking, if he plays the guitar solo on the that's on the record, I'm gonna fucking explode. And he does it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to reinterpret it. He's like, plays the solo. He's playing it. And I'm like, oh, and then like there's a part where like Mick Fleetwood's there's a fill that he does. I didn't have it planned to do it, but I just did it because I'd heard it a million times, and he's doing the solo, and that's the part where you just do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I do it, and Lindsey's like, he did that thing, and he turns around, he looks at me, and he walks right up to me, and he's like playing, he's like fucking 3 feet away from me, my head's exploding. I'm like, fuck! You know, and we're playing, and I'm just freaked out, man. We're playing the song, and at the end of the song, he looks over at Brett, kind of like this guy's been playing with it for a long time, and kind of nods his head. The next song is on the list of Secondhand News. I'm like back there. I'm like, okay, man, I'm ready. I'm going to do it, you know. And Lindsey just stops and goes, you want to be in my band? Because if you want to be in my band, you're in my band.
Whoa.
And I'm just like, wow. Like, you know, don't make me cry the first time I meet you. You know,
I'm crying right
dude,
now.
It's too much, man. I mean, when you're a little kid, and you're like looking at the guy at Disneyland or whatever.
Yeah.
And these moments happen to your life, and you're like,
yeah.
how is this happening? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm good. I practiced a lot. I love music, but really, I don't know why it's happening.
Yeah.
I think it's because I really love music.
I'm the same way, dude. Like I brought Chris Rock up last night. He's the reason, one of the reasons I do comedy. I saw him at the Paramount in Oakland 2 years in a row in the 90s, and I was like, God damn, how do you do that, man? That guy's fucking so funny. And here I am at the best comedy club in America. So I understand. You're like,
amazing,
I don't know how
dude.
it fucking happens. You just keep going, and your passion and your love.
Do you know who? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Do you know who Christian James Hand is? You know,
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that dude, same. He just like, he loves it. He's been in music forever. He's been like grinding, doing this and that, doing that. The guy just randomly does this thing with these multi-track recordings.
Yeah, I had
he
him on the
loves
Cop podcast.
Okay, fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And so I had lunch with him yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny. Also, I also was driving by the comedy club last night.
Yeah. You could have came in last night.
I had no idea.
Right.
I was driving down, you know, the strip. You know, I love. My daughter's going to UCLA, so I'm like taking her. You know.
Oh yeah.
But so Christian, same thing, man. I'm like talking to him, like he just did it because he loves music,
right?
You know? And he just had this idea, just do this thing. You know, he loves to be a DJ, he loves to talk, and he's really smart, really clever, and you know, he's just doing his thing. And then he just signed. He's got like a deal. He's got the shit going on with him now,
right,
you know.
Yeah.
And it's all because he did it. Whatever. You know?
I had him on the show, and he had AC/DC, "Let There Be Rock," isolated tracks. So
awesome.
I sang Bon Scott over it on the show.
Nice.
So I sang with AC/DC.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, not literally, but, you know, technically, you know, it was like, and it was fucking so fun, man. Because there I am singing with the actual band.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Phil Rudd fan. For me,
God, I had him on the show, dude.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
So what's up with that dude? Because it's like
he's back, man. He's in the band. They got the record out, everything, man.
Huh.
He's fucking. It was so crazy because he's such a god, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
And he doesn't do interviews. So there I am interviewing him.
How'd that happen?
I interviewed the whole band.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. So Brian and Angus, and then I did Cliff on his own and Phil on his own.
Wow.
And,
man.
you know, so I'm like, you know, like Phil Rudd, he's like, yeah. I'm like, what was your thing? Like, how did you get going? He's like, Ringo.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Yeah. But he's just like one word answers.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Like how he plays.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly.
He's a minimalist.
Yeah. And I'm like, God damn it. I got to get this thing going somehow. It took a while, you know? Because he was really fucking dry. And,
yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Well, he's a badass, you know?
Oh, God, right?
He's such a... The groove on that dude is insane. I mean, really, man, him and Malcolm, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Malcolm's right hand and his backbeat.
Oh.
That's just made that band where you couldn't stop moving when you heard him, you know?
That's why when people cover it, it's never the same.
No way. They can't make that feel.
No.
They can't make that feel. Like that's like when he wasn't in the band, it just didn't sound right to me, you know.
Not at all,
and when, that's another one. Back in Black. When I heard Back in Black, I'm like, I need to reassess my feeling about this rock and roll shit, you know, because it's obviously incredibly funky, you know.
Now, I wanted to get into this a little bit since you are a man for hire, a gun for hire, like that movie, you know.
Yeah.
So he says you want to be in the band. And you say, yeah, and you don't have to give numbers or whatever, but do you already have a set number that your manager or you gives the guy before you get the gig? You know, so they know like, oh, well, hey, you want to be in the band? Yeah, this is the number. And then they go, ooh, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't have a number and I don't have a manager.
Right.
You know? I just sort of like vibe it out situation to situation.
Great.
You know? It's just sort of like, you know, you figure it out and you talk. I mean, you gotta obviously, the only way you can really negotiate is if you're willing to walk away from something, you know? And, you know, I'm not really good at that because like my heart gets like into something, you know? And I'm I mean, I feel like I'll fucking pay you know, to let me do this.
I'm like the same way.
I mean, I just want to play Tusk, you know?
Yeah. One time, Bill Burr.
So the 14-year-old in me is not a very good negotiator.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Bills managed to get paid and I get paid at fair price, I think, you know? I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I don't really have a system for that. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. I wasn't born with that gene, you know. Maybe I need some help in that area, whatever. But I mean, I'm okay. I'm good. I mean, you know, with this pandemic and the whole entire world suffering, musicians in particular, well, also, you know, stand-up comedy, you know, you can't go out and you can't gig. It was tough, man. It was tough.
Brutal.
And I got that gig with Lindsey right before the pandemic happened, and it picked up after, you know, now that we're kind of back out and trying to see if we can actually do this shit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I interrupted you on your drum kit.
The collection?
I'm just excited though because I love talking to guys like you and
let me tell you my drum collection. Is that cool?
So how many kits? Yeah.
I've got so I have a lot of drums, and in the pandemic, I have to admit that there was some retail therapy going down.
Oh yeah.
I spent money I didn't really have.
Yeah.
I bought too many drums.
Yeah.
But I need to get through. At least I wasn't buying a bowl of heroin, you know. So I bought a lot of drums, and then so now the plan is I've sifted through them, and I'm only going to keep 30 snares.
Oh.
And I'm only going to keep 12 drum sets.
Wow.
But because I've got like 22 kits right now.
And where are they?
They're in a storage locker, and they're in a they're here and there.
So what do you got?
Well, let's say what's going to keep.
What are you going to keep? Yeah.
I'm going to keep 2 Rogers kits. The one is from the 60s. It's a B&B kit. It's like 3-ply early Rogers. Another one is a 70s Rogers kit I'm going to keep. They're both built in Cleveland. If you're into Rogers, you know what I'm talking about. And Rogers, for me, are the top American drums. They're amazing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You know, and so many of the best records you've heard from the 70s are on Roger's drums,
Wow.
whether it's rock or R&B. A lot of R&B drummers on Roger's drums. Great American drums, killer. Then Ludwig is the other one, and I'm totally into Ludwig. I love Ludwig because I got a 60s Ludwig White Marine Pearl that I played for years. Played that with Cracker, played with John Hiatt.
Yeah.
Played all over the world with that drum kit. That was my 90s drum kit. Like when I first got in the 90s, like, oh, I can't play Yamaha anymore. That's not cool. So I got this like vintage 60s Ludwig kit. And I toured all over the world with that thing. I beat the shit out of that thing for fucking ever, man. And now I've like augmented it with different sizes, and I've got all these different configurations of that like White Marine Pearl kit. I got that Vistalite kit that's concert toms. I got a regular white wood concert tom kit that's Ludwig. I got a orange. I had a dream about that orange sparkle drum set, the very first one I had.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, this buying drum set thing's getting out of hand. But then I had a dream about that drum set, and I woke up the next day and I look on my computer and there's a fucking orange sparkle drum kit. I'm like, I have to buy this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the songs I play, like all those war songs and funk tunes and
they're
Santana.
beautiful drums too.
Oh, they're so cool.
Oh.
And this guy had they're a weird kid. He's got this killer drum shop called Hawthorne Drum Shop in Pennsylvania. Shout out Hawthorne Drum Shop in Pennsylvania. And there's a couple of concert toms from the 60s, which are really rare. There's just rare drums. Like for drum nerds who like know about this shit, they're like, oh, really? Whoa, let's talk about that, but yeah, so I got that. This is 3-ply Ludwig. I have a Radio King kit. They have calfskin heads on it, like Gene Krupa style. I play that. There's this guy, Jay Bellerose, who plays with like the Alison Krauss, Robert Plant thing. He's an incredible drummer with a real light touch, and he uses like all these sort of calfskin heads and plays. It's a different type of sound. It's not like this boom, bop, boom, boom, bop. It's this really subtle, boomy, low, rumbly thing, and he's a master at it. And I dabble in that. I'm not anywhere near him, but I have a kit that does that. And I can use it for like hip hop beats and stuff. It's cool because it's got this sort of weird kind of earthy tone to it, What else? What other kits I have? I've got some weird Japanese kits, like 60s, really cheap Japanese drums that sound amazing,
Wow.
It's like if you get like a weird Italian guitar.
Yeah, right, like a Taisco.
Exactly. And they're like that, and they're sick. So yeah, I've got a lot of drums, a lot of cymbals, a lot of drum machines, a lot of drum machines. I have all the classics. I've got the 808, the SP1200, the MPC 3000, the MPC 60. I don't have an LM1. I was looking at LM1. That's the drum machine that Prince used I was looking at last night.
Oh, wow.
$15,000 on eBay. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to buy that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's one.
Are there people that repair those drum machines?
There's a dude here named Bruce Farrat who's the genius. Everybody knows him, and that's where you go. He's on Ventura Boulevard, and he's still doing it, and he's repaired he like tricked out like Dr. Dre's drum machines, and he's
hot rods them.
Yeah, he hot rods them. He makes them look cool. He makes them sound good. He fixes them. He's brilliant. Bruce Farrat. Yeah.
Let's get into that 90s. At what point do you, because there was that 90s rock going on. It was weird. It was like Smash Mouth, Third Eye Blind. Yep. Cake was in there. Cake is just fucking genius, though.
Totally.
And, all of that stuff going on. At what point do you get into Smash Mouth? The drummer gets fired or something and you join in?
Yeah. Well,
because you've been in and out like many times.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's a Mr. Toad's wild ride, that band. If anyone's told you about it, it's crazy, man.
Oh, my God.
I was in the 90s thing was like going from Todd. I found this band called I moved to the Bay Area and I found this band called the Spent Poets.
Yeah.
And we got a deal with Geffen, and we were kind of like Radiohead-ish vibes because they were obsessed with the Beatles. So it's sort of like this Brit pop, but with like loud guitars. So it kind of has a Brit pop vibe before that hits. And we were in competition with the grunge sound, and it just didn't work, And I was out on tour with them, and I was having a lot of trouble with that band. There was just some personality things at the time, and I was newly sober, and I was kind of a raw nerve, and I couldn't really handle much like kind of adversity. So I played my part in it too, and basically I just blew up on the road. But randomly, while we were out on tour, in another dressing room, this is the way shit happens. In another dressing room, the bass player in Cracker is telling David Lowery, the singer, like, I want to try a different drummer, like the guy we have is good, but we need a different flavor. I feel like we need like something that's different, like a little funkier, a little more aggressive, a little blah, blah, blah. Lowry finds like, okay, fuck it, man. Then you fucking find the drummer. You find him, you know. If you're not happy with what you got, you know. So this guy, Davey Farragher, he plays the Elvis Costello now. Incredible bass player, right?
Yeah.
So he walks out of the dressing room because it's getting a little heated in there. And he hears like, dude, in the distance, you know. It's like, huh. He walks up to the stage, and it's me up there playing with Spent Poets, and I'm playing up there. Little does he know, I'm going through hell up there because these guys, like, we're not getting along, you know?
Yeah.
And we're on tour, and he's like, sees me, and he's like, oh, that's the guy. That's the dude right there. So he goes back to the dressing room, and he's like, I found the guy. And Dave's like, oh, that's funny. He goes, no, seriously, I really found, I mean, if not him, this is what I'm talking about, something like this, you know? So David walks out there with Davey, and they look at me and they watch me. And in the meantime, I have no idea who those guys are, and I'm playing up there. And Lowry says to Davey, he's like, see if you can get him.
Yeah.
And so the next night, we're playing at the Metro in Chicago, Spent Poets, and the guitar player, who I love dearly now, I'm friends with Matt Weiniger. He's a fucking amazing guy.
Yeah.
The guy's brilliant, man. Matt's yelling at me, faster, slower, like he was always doing to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether he was right or wrong, I just couldn't handle it, man. He just had been like hammering me for months that I just freaked out and just like started screaming at him on stage.
Whoa.
Like, in front of everybody.
Any video of that out there?
It wasn't like little phones, you know, yeah. And, you know, so that was the end of us, man. I basically walked off stage and, you know, those guys were like, dude, you know, like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Fuck you. What's wrong with him? You know? And we were opening for that band live, and they're all like, dude, that was awesome. We saw you do that. You could sleep on our bus. And so I slept on their bus, and the next day I flew home, you know, and
whoa,
yeah, it was like, I was just done. And you know, a week later, the next day, my phone rings, and it's Davey Farragher from Cracker, and he's like, hey, I don't know what you're doing. It's the same thing. Yeah. You know, we don't want to mess with your thing.
I don't want to fuck up your gig.
Don't want to fuck up your thing, man. You know, but like, you know, dude, you know what's going on, man? And I go, well, just so happens I'm available. And he's like, you're kidding me, because we want you to join our band. And they were great, man. I don't know how much you know about Cracker.
Cracker's fantastic,
dude. The album, the first two albums, actually the first three, all their records are great. Yeah. But the first three are just unbelievable.
Smoking band.
The musicianship, the writing, David Lowry's like take on lyrics and shit. The guy's a genius, man. And I mean, I go out and I just go on tour with Cracker, and I'm suddenly playing with Cracker, like just like a week later.
That's so great.
And I'm playing with this incredible band, and they are like loving it.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm doing the same shit, but they loved it. You know, the other guys, they just were in a different space, and you know, it just wasn't meant to be. So I'm playing with fucking Cracker, and then you know, a few months later, we go in the studio. We at the rehearsals, David's like, oh, I got this thing, man. I got this, like, he's like kind of like, you know, strumming this thing. Dun, dun, be, dun, be, dun, dun. He's like, start singing that song, Be With You, Girl. Yeah,
love it. Like being low.
Yeah, he just makes it up on the spot, right? And I'm like, I think maybe, you know, based on that strum, I'm going to kind of swing beat a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, the guitar, like, it just all happens right there without talking. And then the manager comes in, and he's like, hey, check out our new song, you know? We play it. And the manager's like, that's pretty good, you know?
Wow.
So then we learn all the songs, and the first show in Chicago, oddly, we got to, where was it? I can't remember that place. It's got a big curtain. The curtain goes up. David won't write a set list, right?
Yeah.
Won't write. I'm like, where's the set list? He's like, I don't write fucking set lists.
Whoa.
I'm like, I'll call the songs out. I'm like, okay, man. And then I go, where's my laminate? It's like, we don't have fucking laminates.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you don't have enough attitude to get in this club. We're only playing fucking clubs. If you can't get in a club, you're not in this band, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
The guy's fantastic.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
He turns around, and the curtain goes up. He turns around and looks at me and goes, play the new one.
Yeah,
play the new one.
Yeah,
play the new one. Song, crowd goes crazy. I'm like, they're onto something here. These guys, they got one, you know?
Yeah.
And so we do the album. We did it in Pioneer Town. David found Pioneer Town, where Pappy and Harriet is.
Whoa, really?
Found it. Nobody's going there then. It's a ghost town.
Yeah.
It's like totally abandoned. They barely have got anything going on.
Yeah.
At Pappy and Harriet's.
Right.
But David found it. That's because that's David, man.
He records in Pappy and Harriet's or where? The bowling alley?
There's in the bowling alley.
Whoa.
Is it a bowling alley now?
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't then. It was a sound stage where they did like Gene Autry movies.
Oh, that's next door.
Okay, next door.
Yeah.
Okay, so we rolled the truck in there.
Yeah.
Like a truck where they recorded like, Rolling Stones live or whatever.
Yeah.
They have one of those like recording trucks. This guy Don Smith who recorded the Keith Richards solo records recorded with Tom Petty.
Wow.
Incredible guy. Did the first and second Cracker albums. Don Smith.
And you do it out there, huh?
We did it out there, man. Nobody's out there.
Wow.
We're in a circle, no click tracks, no headphones.
That's fucking cool as
Playing
shit.
it, dude, so badass.
Whoa.
That's Lowry, man. He's got that kind of mind, always thinking outside the box. And that band, that's a good one, man. That's a good band.
I love it.
Yeah, so we get in that band, but then what happens? I'm newly sober. Bass player's sober. David and Johnny not.
Yeah.
Very much not. And it just was a little bit gnarly for us. And randomly, Matt Wallace had produced the guy that I mentioned who called me before. He produced this Perfectly Good Guitar album for John Hiatt.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian McLeod, incredible drummer, playing on that record.
I know Brian, yeah.
Yeah, he's killer, man.
Yeah.
And Bay Area, dude.
Yeah.
Wire Train,
Yeah.
Jeff Trott's in Wire Train.
Oh, Sheryl Crow.
And they were on that tour with Spent Poets and Live, too, Wire Train. I was hanging with those guys, Kevin, the singer, one of the coolest San Francisco bands ever. Didn't make it,
Nope.
Totally deserved it.
Yeah,
man.
they were on 415 Records.
So good, dude.
I think
so
Howie
good.
Klein signed them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fucking huge.
Yeah, and so
Matt Wallace calls you.
Wallace calls me, hey man, I don't want to mess with your thing, but John's going out on tour and he needs a band, and he just needs someone right now. Doesn't need to be for the long term. Can you do it for like a few weeks? You got to audition, but he needs a bass player too. I'm like, oh, I highly recommend Davey Farragher. It's like you can't find a better bass player than Davey Farragher. Okay, so me and Davey, we go down there, we audition, for John Hiatt, we get the gig.
Wow.
John Hyatt's kind of a real dude,
Oh, yeah.
He had this drummer named Jim Keltner playing with him.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm like
Slow
freaking
turning.
out. Dude, slow turning, man.
Come on, man.
That's the Goners on that. The Little Village
But it's
records,
like a master.
Ry Cooter.
Yeah.
Who's the bass player? God, it's that amazing British guy. I'm so embarrassed. I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, so we get that gig, me and Davey. We're in Cracker. We go out on tour. He pays us a lot of money.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And his manager calls me. He's like, well, we can only afford it. He gives me a number, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm living in a little apartment. I don't have any money. I never made any money in music. Guy gives me like a real number.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's a good place for us to start. I'm thinking like, how much do people get paid doing this shit?
Right?
So that was like real money. I'm living in San Francisco. I'm out on tour with John Hiatt. I have my own tech. Jim Keltner was the drummer before. We're staying at the Four Seasons. Everything's super professional. It's not like alternative rock. Like it's not like in the van. It's like we got a bus where it's like flying. I'm like, wow, this is a trip,
Yeah.
Then John says like, look, man, I want you guys to stay, gives us a little bit of a raise. I want you guys to stay. In the meantime, Cracker's album's about to come out.
Yeah.
And Davey like calls me and it's like, dude, I'm doing it. I'm staying. I'm like, no way, man. Cracker's, that song Low's a hit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm over it. I got to move on. I got to do this. David's an intense guy and he's drinking a lot. And he's like, he's an intense dude.
Yeah.
I love David. I'm friends with David. I fucking bow to David. He's a brilliant guy and I still listen to his records and I play with him from time to time. I play with Cracker. It's all good now. But I walked with Davey because I kind of idolized Davey. And I'm like, okay. And so I begrudgingly leave the band. But, I was also excited to play with John Hiatt. Come on. These are problems of
good
prosperity.
money all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah,
real
exactly.
money finally as a long starving musician.
Yeah. And, Cracker, I would have made money with Cracker, maybe more because they just were about to have a hit record. So fast forward 2 months later, I'm in John Hyatt's band and it's cool. It's really cool. But Cracker Low is the most played rock song in America in 1993. And I'm in San Francisco. There's Live 105 on the back of the bus. It's like, Cracker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, but that's life,
Yeah.
And So I'm in John's band, and I start getting all these calls. I moved down to L.A. I met Jeff Trott from Wire Train. He's working with Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Jeff's just like, hey man, you're in town, right? I'm like, yeah, I live in LA now. He's like, well, right down, where you living? I'm on Frank. I'm in Beechwood. Just drive down the hill, man. We're at Capitol. Like we're down here. Come down here.
Yeah.
Cheryl wants you to record it. I met Cheryl opening on the John Hiatt tour. Cheryl opened for us, and I kind of hit it off with her. So yeah, we got this song. It's called "If It Makes You Happy."
Yeah.
And another one called.
Bill Bottrell producing?
No, it was Cheryl.
Oh, Cheryl.
Cheryl doing it because Cheryl needed to prove, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, she's built by
fabricated."
Us. Yeah, and so she's like,
Tuesday
okay,
night music
so she
club.
gets exactly. So and those guys are great; they're awesome. But Cheryl's fucking great too. And Cheryl's like, okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to produce this myself. Yeah. So she goes off with Jeff Trott and Trina Shoemaker, the engineer.
Oh yeah,
they call me in, and I go down there and I play "If It Makes You Happy" on a '60s Ludwig kit, and I play it maybe 3 times.
Yeah,
she's like, that's what I want. And that song, there's a little swing in the kick drum, that, it's a little tiny swing. That's the trick of kind of making that slow tempo, move forward, is you apply the swing. You can't really tell it's there, but you feel it, and it worked, And I've also played on Every Day is a Winding Road.
Wow. 2 monster hits.
Yeah, man.
2 monster hits.
Yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm playing with John Hiatt, and then those songs are on the radio, and then
Lowe's on the radio.
Lowe's on the radio. In San Francisco, this dude, Steven Jenkins, comes up to me. He's like, oh, yeah, you were in Cracker, You are... And I mean, the ego, the attitude that you can't believe, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, I love that dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people trip on that guy. And, I didn't join his band because he kind of, bugged me. But... I fucking love that guy, man. And he obviously wrote some killer songs.
Huge.
I mean, here we are all these years later, and that Third Eye Blind album, I played on half the songs on that record. And I get kids calling me, writing me. That is such all these emo rockers, all these dudes that are kind of late 20s drummers. They write to me all the time. You're drumming on that album,
Oh, yeah.
Crazy, right?
Well, it's a huge record.
It's a big record. Yeah, I'm not on that. That's Brad. I'm on
But I'm just saying the songs on that thing.
Yeah, I'm on How's It Gonna Be, which is a big, that's my vibe, that drum beat on there. And I'm on Motorcycle Drive By and blah, blah, blah. Losing a Whole Year. I'm on 4 songs on that album. So I play with Steven. Steven makes me an offer. And I'm like, he's just kind of bugging me. I have other things going on. It was a hard choice to not join that band,
Right.
But I think they had a hard go of it, because a lot of the guys couldn't stay because Steven's intense,
Yeah, he is.
So maybe it wouldn't have worked out anyway. But I do have a lot of love for that guy. I think he's a talented dude, and so it's a crazy period because I have all these songs on the radio all of a sudden.
And
then I joined
and that's when your
Kinetics.
name was kind of everywhere.
It was weird, man.
Yeah.
And I probably should have moved to LA, and I probably should have been a session drummer and just really gone for it, just moved down. I kind of moved to LA for a little bit, but I'm like, I'm going to go back to the Bay. I love the Bay Area, man. I love it.
Right.
And I go back to the Bay and I fucking see the Kinetics, playing in a bar. And I'm like, that's what I want to do, man.
Oh, man.
And so I got this shit going on. I'm on the radio and there's this other stuff. I'm like, I just want to play with these guys, man. And so I was in a band called Black Lab that was on Gas Man.
Black Lab.
And
Forgot about that.
Dude, and I remember you actually were with Immer at a gig where we opened for Train, I think. And you're like, oh, your friend is in Bush, dude. Because we kind of had this sort of jive ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We kind of had this jive vibe, man. I was in because we had this guitar player that was an amazing guitar player. He used to play in a band called The Sleepers. He just passed away, by the way. It's heavy, man. Michael Belfer. R.I.P. Michael Belfer. He's look up Michael Belfer. He just wrote a book that's an amazing book about early days San Francisco punk rock. Michael Belfer, check it out.
Yeah,
amazing dude. Influenced Sonic Youth. The guy's heavy. So he was in our band. So the dude Jeff Stanfield, cool, got a good bass player. But Paul was, what's with you singers, man? But he had his thing, and then he kind of changed his trip a little bit.
Yeah,
and I wasn't kind of feeling it. I was
turned into Bush.
It kind of got into this man pain shit, And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a long ride from Ohio players to this, It's the 90s. I get it. I'm trying to adapt. I'm trying to grow. But I was kind of into it and kind of not. Then he kind of did some business stuff that felt odd. And I was just like, oh, God. And then I saw the Kinetics and I was like in love. And I'm like, I gotta be in your, I quit Black Lab that was on Geffen to be in this band,
Yeah, that was just going to play a club.
Going to play in a club, but fuck it.
You gotta
whatever.
love that, though. You got to love that. I mean, you got to, eventually your gut and your soul, and you just kind of like, ugh, this doesn't feel good. I want to get into what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. You got to try to
go back and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you feel great. And you got to get into the fucking devil for a while to see if you want to dance out there.
Yeah, and then you go, that dance is not maybe my dance, or maybe it is. I don't know. But then the next move that happened was I'd done the Third Eye Blind record, and Eric Valentine produced it.
Oh yeah, T-Ride.
Genius. T-Ride, dude. Genius. You know about T-Ride.
Straight up Queen, man.
Dude.
T-Ride. Then he had
he did that when he was 19.
I know, it's unreal, man. I think it was all on like fucking, Tascam or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy.
Insane. Yeah, and he had a studio down here that was insane.
Yeah, I recorded there many times. Many times.
Crystal Room or Velvet.
Crystal.
Yeah,
right, where the Jackson 5 and Marvin
great,
Gaye cut
dude.
records.
Come on, man. That guy was a genius.
He is a genius.
Yeah, it was weird.
He moved to Vermont now.
Oh,
he's
really?
in Vermont, and he's building a studio, and I think no telling what he's going to do. The guy's unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I get a call from Greg Brown from Cake, the guitar player, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna go off and we're gonna do this thing called Death Ray."
Oh yeah, Death Ray.
And it's like this 80s new wave thing.
Yeah.
Kind of Strokes well before the Strokes.
Yeah.
Like 5 years before the Strokes. And I hear it. I'm like, oh, I love that shit. And he's like, yeah, who should produce us? I'm like, dude, Eric Valentine should produce you. So I'm calling Eric constantly. I'm like, dude, Eric, and Eric's like, I'm busy. He gets obsessed with whatever's in front of him. Yeah. I finally like, dude, I finally go into his studio. I'm like, play him on a cassette, God, listen to two of these songs. Like, come on, man. He listens to it. He's like, wow, that's really good. I'm like, yeah, I've been telling you. I've been calling you for months about this. He's like, yeah. All of a sudden, Greg calls me. He's like, Eric's going to do our album, man. And we want you to play on it. And I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm in the studio with Eric. We're making this record. It's killer, man. It's like this like dum, 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 really
I remember it.
Killer record, right? So I'm doing it. Eric's got this like velvet curtain around me. He's trying to get the really bone dry 70s sound. I'm like basically in a little tent, playing this beat. The curtain opens and in pops this dude. This is a guitar player from Smash Mouth, Eric had just finished Smash Mouth's second album. He did the first one too, Walking on the Sun on it. He finished the second one, Astro Lounge. It's the guitar player. He's like, oh, I thought you were Eric, because Eric plays drums on a lot of records he does. I thought you were Eric. And I'm like, no, Eric's in the control room. He's like, oh, I'm Greg. And so I go in the room, Greg Camp from Smash Mouth. And oh, hey, Greg, nice to meet you. And he's like, Eric, dude, I got two more songs. Like, the label won't put our album out. Like, we got to do these two songs, otherwise we're fucked, man. I mean, like, they're not feeling it. And we need two more songs. And he's like, he's kind of nervous, and because he knows Eric's going to like, fuck you. I'm doing this band now. Like, it's too, we're done. The album's done. It's like, man, we got to do these songs, but please, Eric. And he's like, okay, man, play them for me, So he plays me this song. It's like, somebody once told me. I hear this song. I'm like,
yeah.
It's a pretty good song,
Yeah.
And Eric's like, I think the other one, When the Morning Comes, I think I'll do that one. I'm like, Eric, you might want to re-listen to that All-Star song. I think it's got something,
Yeah.
He listens to it and he's like, okay, fuck it. We'll do both of them. But he almost didn't even do that song.
Whoa.
And then Eric says, look, I got to use Michael. He's here. He's set up. I got to do this fast,
Right.
The drummer that they had was like kind of more of a punk rock drummer, He couldn't really play those funky beats. They're playing to like click tracks and break beats at this point, like 90s. Everyone had all these break beats and shit.
Totally.
Right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, man, all right. He's like, so Greg just puts his little demo on the console. Eric hooks it all up.
Yeah.
And I'm all okay. I go out there. And I hear somebody, and I'm like, I play the song. Play it twice. Eric's like, that's great. I'm like, oh, dude, let me do it again. He's like, no, it's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good. Play the other song, then the morning comes. Greg's like, nice to meet you, Leaves. And about a month later, Eric tells the guys in Death Ray, I'm really sorry. I got to take a week. I got to finish these other two Smash Mouth songs. Dude, I swear to God, a month later, whenever a record company says we can't, there's a pipeline, we can't get it out for a year, whatever. That's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
They fucking got this song out in a month.
Whoa.
I'm in Seattle. I'm driving in the car, and it's like I start hearing this song. It's like banging over. And at this point, Smash Mouth's still considered somewhat cool, you know?
Yeah.
And, Walk on the Sun, quirky, cool, alt rock, whatever,
right,
you know?
Right, 90s.
90s,
Total
yeah.
Live
Yeah. Oh, what's
105.
going on? Sublime has got their funky songs.
Totally.
Yeah, so we're kind of in that world, Also competing with Limp Bizkit, which is totally not us, but.
Yeah.
And about a month later, I get this phone call. Hey, man, it's Greg. What are you doing? I'm like, what? So he goes, dude, can you go on tour with us? I'm like, what? Yeah. And at that point, All Star's the number one song in America.
Yeah.
And he's like, can you go on tour with us? I'm like, yeah. When do I start? He's like, well, we start tomorrow.
Whoa. Tomorrow.
Because we fired our drummer on stage last night because we've been having trouble, I mean, God bless the guy, Kevin, he's a good dude, but it just wasn't in the cards,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I go to Amoeba. I buy the 2 records. I get the set list. I write everything up. I get a couple of thermoses of coffee. I stay up all night over at Soundwave in Oakland.
Yeah.
All night long, I'm in Testament's room, practicing All-Star songs. Smash Mouth songs. I drive to fucking Sacramento, where I saw my first concert, Stevie Wonder in 1971.
Whoa.
The Memorial Auditorium.
Oh, yeah.
I get on the bus with Smash Mouth. I meet the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
They're like, you ready to do this?
The rest of the guys.
I meet them.
Yeah.
They're like, and this is how they roll, man. They're fucking crazy. They like fucking this kind of shit all day long with these guys. Nice to meet you guys. Steve's like, how's it going, man? You ready to do this? I'm like, no. He goes, great, let's go.
Yeah.
We walk out on stage, sold out.
Yeah.
Memorial Auditorium. I didn't even call my mom and tell her I'm playing because I'm so nervous,
Right.
I didn't like come down to the show, Mom. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Just
These
one
guys,
night rehearsal
Yeah.
with no one. Just you in
Just
a fucking
me.
warehouse.
Yeah, in a little rehearsal room in Oakland. So I drive to Sac. I do the gig. Halfway through the show, Steve turns around and goes, oh my God, so this is what we're supposed to sound like. I'm liking it, man,
Whoa.
I'm like, whoa, my head's blowing up. I'm like, I don't even know. Do we just play the chorus? I don't even fucking know. I got like my charts written out.
Yeah.
We get on the bus. We roll down to like about Fresno. We're going to the K-Rock Weenie Roast, right?
Oh, yeah.
They pull over to a liquor store and they buy like $600 worth of booze.
Whoa.
I'm like,
whoa.
Oh, it's gonna be like that.
Oh.
I'm sober.
Yeah.
So I'm with these dudes now.
Oh no.
I mean, I'm just like overnight in Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
And I mean, how are you gonna not say yes to the number one band? Plus, I really love Astro Lounge. It's a killer album. You should check it out sometime. It's a great record.
Right.
Eric Valentine. Greg Camp is a brilliant songwriter. I think underrated.
Yeah.
That band made some moves I think they shouldn't have made with like commercial, like selling out, too many commercials, too many a little bit too much cheese, But dude, they are getting hammered. It's Jaeger days, right? There's like Jaeger going. I'm like, oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But so it's funny, like, you always hear like the Beach Boys were the most debauched band, with the sweetest sound, like Smash Mouth. Fucking debauched, man.
Whoa.
But when we decided to get sober at one point, and we had about a 4 or 5 month run where we were like all pretty sober. Man, we were so good because they're really good musicians.
Oh, were you partying again?
No, I wasn't. No, they got sober.
Gotcha.
I kind of like talked them like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah, let's kick some ass out.
Yeah, let's do it, dude. Now's the time, you know? I remember we were playing Third Eye Blind. We're kind of rivals, We're at these radio shows. We're in Kansas, I think, We're playing Third Eye Blind's on the side of the stage, man. We just and Third Eye Blind's good, And we just blew them out of the water. I mean, I know for sure we did. I'm just sorry, man. Sorry for anyone who's listening in that band. I love those guys.
Yeah.
We fucking blew them out of the water. Man, we were so good. I was like, this is great. But then, those guys couldn't help themselves. They went back to their thing, what they needed to do.
Of course.
And it got tiring for me after a while, and I finally had to leave. But
I get it, man. It's weird when you, especially at our age, after a while, you're like, oh, man, you're making the same mistakes because of the booze, and you don't really see it.
Dude.
Okay.
There's so many stories, and I don't really want to drag their name through the mud, but I love them to death, but total
and there's so
bad
many
news
people you
bears.
can play with that are just fucking on next level, like Lindsey Buckingham right now. You're not going to get on a bus and dudes are like, Lindsey's like, dude, I did that shit in the 70s.
I mean, he's not. He's just all about being an artist, being a musician. And
that's what it's about.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Our first show's in San Francisco, April 5th. Yeah.
That's where you figure out later on in life that you're going to be a long run and you're into the art part of it is when you go, when you first join and you're like partying and it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then later in life, you're like, oh no, it's actually art. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Art,
Yeah. It gives meaningfulness to your life, like you're doing something that you
feels good.
When you're on stage and you're doing your thing and you're making people happy, in the middle of like a Russian war and a pandemic or whoever's going on in their personal life.
Gas, fucking inflation.
Yeah, and you're helping people in this way by doing what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah. How lucky are we? It's sick.
Let me ask you a last thing. My buddy Ed Berman, he's a drummer, and he's like, you always have these great drummers on, but ask them, about their hands and their body and what they do to, if they've got arthritis and all that stuff. So, drummer is the most brutal thing there is.
Yeah.
What do you do to keep your body together? Do you have any shit that broke down? Any shoulder issues, hands?
Got a left shoulder issue, probably, I don't know, I got like bursitis in my shoulder,
right?
They call it. A little bit of bursitis in my right knee. I've been vegan for 3 years.
Yeah.
I've been sober for 32 years.
Yeah.
I do yoga. I ride a bicycle. I stretch out. I meditate. I mean, it sounds like a pretentious asshole, but that's what I do to keep myself going,
Yeah.
I stretch. I used to be in drum and bugle corps when I was young, and there's some hand exercises that I did to warm up before. But mostly I just need to get my heart rate up a little bit before I hit the stage, kind of with some jumping jacks, and I kind of play drums a little bit, and I kind of meditate for a little bit to try to calm myself down because my adrenaline gets going too much when I get out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to sit up and I want to relax and I want to play like I'm in the studio, or I don't want to trip on stage, and I don't want to overdo it or underdo it. I just want to find that spot. And so my body, I eat well.
Yeah.
The vegan thing has been great. My daughter is the one who turned me on to that. I didn't have any plans to be vegan. I don't walk around talking about it or whatever, but it's an important thing, I think, anyway. That's
it's
what
easier to be vegan now on the road too. Back in the day, my buddy was vegan on the tour, and he's like, oh man, now you can get a Beyond Burger somewhere. Where back then I just ate salad or dirt. You know, you go into the fucking catering, it was just slop. You know, now it's like, this is what we eat. We want to eat clean.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always good food around to eat. And, and I don't make a big deal out of that. I'm not one of those people that's going to be walking around like, I can't eat what people eat meat. That bullshit. Or people, or there's the other people like the vegans who get down the vegetarians, cheese is really bad. And she's like, dude, they're not eating meat. That's whatever. Let people live, man. You know what I mean? Let people do their thing.
Do your own gig.
Do your thing, man.
Yeah.
So the hands, just stretching, and I had to start paying attention to how I sit and how my drums are set and the ergonomic kind of makeup of things. And I looked at Charlie Watts and Levon Helm, and they sit up straight, and the shit's not too high, and the cymbals are not too far away, and they're just kind of smacking that shit over there, and they're not hitting stuff too hard, and that's what I'm doing now, Oh, man, when I was young, I fucking beat my drums, broke sticks, broke cymbals, broke heads, and it was always like, he's loud, and that was like a badge on. He's the loudest motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And
drummers.
I mean, young drummers that are cool, that are good, they don't play that way. They laugh at people that are playing too hard. Oh, there's some people that's their thing, and they're really good at it, and it's cool. It's like an athletic event to watch and stuff. But I just went away from that. I don't relate to it anymore, Yeah. And it's not because I'm old, because I can still play fucking loud, but I just don't think it's just not what I'm interested in anymore,
Yeah.
I'm sort of bored with that.
There was that era of the Bozio home tapes, and everybody was like,
yeah.
And then there was the Tommy Lee big swing, arm over the head.
Sure.
And I had Lombardo on, and he goes,
oh, dude.
All those are just, he goes, my drums are right here.
Oh, dude.
They're right here.
That's the guy.
That's the guy, dude.
Okay, I got to tell you one Lombardo. Are we running out of time? One quick one?
Yeah.
All right, so Smash Mouth, we're opening for Maroon 5. It's kind of towards the end for me when I'm, and this guy comes up from behind, it's like it comes up backstage, and he's like, hey, I heard you're the drummer in Smash Mouth. Yeah, he's like, oh, my kids just love you, man. They love your music so much, and he goes, I'm a drummer too. I really think that you got this the kind of hidden swing in what you do. It's like there's like a secret swing in your thing. I'm like, oh yeah. yeah. He's like, yeah, the way you like do these things, like you apply the, and I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah, he goes, yeah, I'm a drummer. And is it cool if we like sit behind you during the show, you know? And I could see that he knows the promoter. I'm thinking like, you know, the promoter is like, you know, I'm going to let this dude, you know, he's really polite, very kind, you know, kids, sweet kids, you know. So I set some chairs up behind me, you know, playing. And I'm playing. I look back and I'm looking. He's like thumbs up, you know. He's like smiling, thumbs up, and everything. After the show, I'm like, who was that guy? That was Dave Lombardo. It was a fucking drummer from Testament. I mean, a literal
Slayer,
genius. Oh, Slayer. Slayer. I mean, one of the greatest drummers in the world.
Yeah.
Like talking to me as if like I'm like a, you know, but you know, he could recognize that I have a thing, and he's just talking about music, no attitude.
He's in Testament now again.
Yeah,
which is great.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's why I made the slip.
About to start the tour.
I mean, dude, when I first heard Slayer, I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, that's not my shit, you know.
Right.
But I'm here that drummer, and I'm like, oh my god,
and the swing in it, man.
Oh, dude, come on, the guy is insane, and that stuff with Phantom Moss, and the guy's insane.
Oh, crazy, right?
Yeah, So that's my Dave Lombardo story. Yeah.
Well, the tour starts. When's it start?
April 5th. It's the first show.
And how long does it go?
It's not going to be that long because they were already out for a while.
Right.
But then something happened the other day at rehearsal where Lindsey turned around and was like, man, we're sounding really good.
Yeah.
You know, it's I think they're excited. They have a new guy in the band and it sounds different. You know, I play a little bit different than Jimmy. And so there's a different thing happening, you know. And maybe Lindsey was excited. I think his manager was kind of excited. He turns around and is like, you guys want to do another couple more months? You know, like,
hell yeah.
So that we might play more.
Wow.
We'll see if it's in the cards or whatever. I hope so because I love the set list. I love playing with him. And so right now it's 2 months. It's going to be 1 month in the States and 1 month in Europe. And then obviously there's more music down the line because he just played me 2 new songs in his car, which were amazing, you know? So, I mean, I hope I stay with him for a while because it's kind of a dream come true, man.
Oh, yeah. Full circle.
It's insane. It's insane.
I love that stuff. Well, hopefully I'll get to see you guys when you come to town if I'm not working.
We're playing Santa Barbara. If you want to come, you're on the list.
Santa Barbara
man.
Bowl? Love it.
We're playing at the theater. It's like it's a beautiful theater.
Oh, no, that theater's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that theater. It's got like the stars on the roof.
That's the place.
Oh, yeah, I've done that theater. It's great.
Dude, if you want to come, you're in. Of course, yeah.
And then... who knows? Like I said, Lindsey was supposed to do the show, and then it didn't happen. But
well, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get him on one time because, oh my God, I mean, talk about a complete unique dude, just in his guitar playing, and then not
underrated.
To even mention the fucking songwriting. Come on, man.
The production.
Yeah, the production.
The production that could be anything he wants it to be.
Oh man, it's great.
And also, his just. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his interviews, but he's incredibly articulate and he's really, really smart. And
he's like us. Yeah.
He's he's better than, maybe like you. I'm not on that level. I aspire. He's good at saying words.
Yeah,
he's
I'm not good at that at all.
Yeah, we're not so good at talking.
I just fucking get into the fire and the passion.
You got the fire, Dean. Always had it, man.
Well, how old is your iPhone?
This is an iPhone 3. I think I got.
Whoa!
It's an 8, I think. Yeah, man.
I saw a single cam lens there.
I live in the Bay Area. We don't have much tech there, you know. Yeah, there's no tech there. I don't know. Yeah, I think I might get a 13. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. You just
That's funny.
It's awesome.
Tell everybody where to find you on Instagram and website.
Drummer Michael Urbano on Instagram. That's it, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for doing the show, dude. Great talking to you.
Pleasure.
And
pleasure.
A lot of history, man. A lot of history with you.
You get old.
Played on a lot of great records, and it was great to sit down and talk to you,
dude. Thanks a lot.
Hell yeah, dude.
You're awesome.
Awesome, man. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Another drum legend there for you guys. Don't forget to leave a review and subscribe on iTunes and check out the YouTube channel. See ya.